Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters in That podcast. I'm your host, Brian. And today I welcome some special guests. And to introduce everybody, we got Matt. And we got Jeff. Willie.
So,
Phil. And Danny Boy.
that never changes.
Yeah, we know. Kutthroat Kingz. We got the Kutthroat Kingz on today. How you boys doing today?
Good, man.
I'm good. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, sir.
No worries. Special shout out to Jeff Tucker, because I think he had mentioned you guys to me, because I reached out to him a while back about just naming 5 bands he knows that are probably hold a special place in his heart, to say the least. I think he might have mentioned you guys, but we'll give a shout out to Jeff nonetheless. So,
Yeah, Jeff's a good dude, man. Yeah.
I guess, how'd you guys meet him? Did he reach out to you?
I think that Jeff actually knew him from the town you're from, right? You guys knew.
Yeah, I'm from South Georgia. I'm about an hour away from where I grew up, so kind of know a lot of people around there.
That's good. And I guess, did you guys play in a show recently? I guess, what was that, Oglethorpe?
Yeah, the Oglethorpe. Yeah. I heard that's a legendary place, man. Somebody said that's like one of the oldest dive bars in town. We had a really good time there, man. You know, even the older people was there. They said like, what's this coming in? But then by the end of once they got to know us a little bit, we're all hugging and
they live up to the reviews.
Oh yeah.
Well, it can't be like, first off, we're hugging, guess right here next to you know they're being a bunch of fucking jerks. So,
Yeah.
Well, they were we took some clips for our single that's out. And we're doing a video for it, and I wanted to involve all them, get some of them people in there. Not that that'll be the only place once the production's done, but I made sure that I got some of the locals in there, man, in the video lip singing to the song. So they're like super excited about being a part of the video.
Yeah, they had a good time.
have you guys only released a couple songs? Because I was checking it out on Spotify. I think I only saw 2 songs.
Yeah, there's we've released 2 songs, and it's been on our own, with the production and the studio. We go to Burn Orange here in Sarasota, Florida. We've recorded in some other big studios in Columbus, Ohio. We recorded in Sonic Lounge, which he's done bands like Theory of a Dead Man. Actually, the last studio we was in, interesting story, he did This Is How We Do It. This is yeah, he recorded that. Yeah, he's like, that's his claim to fame. He's like, that was my bass rig that those guys use that. Yeah, so yeah, we got two of those out. We're kind of like holding up on. We're going back into the studio in July. Here in a couple weeks, we're going back in the studio for a little shot at maybe 3 or 4 more songs, and we're kind of holding off because we don't want to release them without we got some stuff in the works. You know what I mean? So they don't want us to release it quite yet.
That's pretty good. Do you think that material might be released sometime this year, or?
Oh yeah, most definitely. But what do you guys think? I think we're trying to get it definitely before towards the end of October, somewhere in that.
Plus the video for our single Pressure.
Yeah, we got the single Pressure out, and we're working on the video right now. We're pretty excited about it. Yeah.
All right.
All platforms right now too.
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and Ride or Die is out there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the other one. Ride or Die, and then Pressure. So yeah, okay. Make sure I get those down. So
Yeah, more about released first. And got Pressure recently.
Yeah, we got a pretty cool video for Ride or Die on YouTube as well.
We do have several songs. However, we're in the middle of creating, quite a few more, and we're just kind of picking and choosing what we want to record right now and what we plan to release here soon.
all right, sounds good. So good luck this year, boys.
Yeah, we're excited.
Oh yeah.
We're excited.
All right.
I don't mean to interrupt anything, but I was checking out some of your stuff. I was really excited about being on your show here, man. I was like, I've seen several. You got quite a few videos out yourself with your podcast here. Bunch. We're excited about being on your stuff, though, man. Oh, yeah.
That's good. And actually, I've been rolling since 2021, to be honest, here too. So it just started off just for people who would just consider social media quote unquote influencers. They're just goofing around on like YouTube, for instance, and then little band together group happened to find me on Facebook right there, and I joined theirs. Afterwards, rest is history of just finding all sorts of bands in around the states and in around the world here too. So,
Yeah, I know. I noticed that. That was really cool. Really cool.
thanks, mate. But as it all goes, welcome to my podcast here, boys. And the way it's going to work is I just want to ask you guys some questions. I want to get to know you more, both as the musicians, but also as the individuals as well here too. So, you all ready?
Oh, yeah. Sounds good.
Fire off.
All right. So I guess we'll just go by the list here first. And I think once I get an idea of who everybody is, then we'll just go from there too. So, Matt, go ahead and kick it off right here too. So, what role do you play in the band? And what's your story?
I play guitar and I do some backup vocals. I just recently moved here about 2 years ago from up north. I was in a band up there for a while. And then I found these guys when I got here. Willie kind of reached out to me. I think I put it classified.
Yeah.
And he saw me there, and I was looking for some guys to play with. And then now we have this. We've been through a couple changes and whatnot, but we've seemed to be going pretty strong now. And it's comfortable for all of us. We get along, and it's fun. You know, we have fun doing it.
Are you all based out of Sarasota, Florida?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure because I wasn't sure.
Bradenton, which is right.
Sarasota, Bradenton area.
Close enough. Okay, yeah. So, I guess Jeff.
Okay. I'm the drummer, originally from South Georgia. I played drums for a long time. I actually started my music career with my dad. Big influence on me. He's recently passed away during COVID, but I started learning piano at 4 years old because of him, and that's what got me into music. From there, just kind of took off, started learning drums and guitar at the same time, and then singing. Played drums for a band for a while and got out of it. Now I got back into it. I'm glad I did because I put an ad out. These guys reached out to me, and tell you what, man, it's been amazing so far. Been with them since January, and it's been a blast, man. There's a lot of stuff coming.
That's good. So, I guess were any of you guys like real close in high school or anything? Or I know Matthias, you said you recently just moved down. So,
Yeah,
Well, this dude right here, Willie Job here, myself, we met each other when we were kids, and we were just kind of hanging out, you know, just typical young teenagers going camping, fishing, and decided, you know, really, you know how to play music? Oh, you know how to play music? Well, let's stir something up here. It's been 35 years now. It's been one hell of a ride, you know. Him and I, he's, we separated for a little bit just because we took a little bit of different directions for a little while, but he continued to move on forward and toured the U.S. multiple times, did a lot of big league things, and so we reunited again, and kind of gave me a taste of what he tasted, and it's been fun. It's been now 10 years, something like that, another decade. So yeah, it's been exciting, man. It's been one hell of a ride, and we've opened up for a lot of heavy hitters and played some really cool stages. Been a good time.
I guess while we're on that, I guess Willie, what's your story and what role do you play?
Well, I'm the bass player, and I've been playing music. Just like a lot of these guys, we've been playing music since we're kids, and like he was talking about, I was in my first band with him, and it was like real alternative but punk, kind of heavy, but still more alternative punk. But so anyway, we kind of went our own ways a little bit, and I ended up getting in a national band and moved out to LA, and did all that, and then toured and got to play with a lot of. I went out with Mushroom Head. I went out with just a bunch of bands. I got to open up for Slipknot and the Mayhem tour. I did the Mayhem tour. I was with Jägermeister for 10 years, almost 10 years with Jäger, and it was probably about 2010. I kind of made my exit. You know what I mean? I didn't know what kind of was going to be next. It was a lot of second stage stuff, and Megaforce reached out to us, and we were with Megaforce for a while, and then I ended up taking a break from music for a couple of years, but when you take that break, you always say, I'm done or whatever, you know, and if it's in your blood, it's in your blood. So that's what, you know, happens. And I ended up moving back to where my roots were from. And we always stayed in contact, and we started a band called One in the Chamber. And One in the Chamber had a pretty good movement, you know, doing shows with Jackal and Non-Point and bands like that. You know, it was just a lot of stuff. And we were in Columbus, Ohio, but I had family here, so I ended up moving back down here. Of course, he followed. That's my brother, you know. He follows, and we started Kutthroat Kingz, and it's taken us probably a couple of years, but this lineup of guys that I got with me, I mean, I'm getting chills when I tell you about it, that I feel strong about these guys, because there's never a, you know, you ask them something, it's like, not only do they not say no, but I'm like, these guys keep surprising me, like not only, you know, did I not say no, but I did this too. I didn't tell you, but I handled that too. You know what I mean? So there's a nice flow, you know, if you know what I mean, with a band. There's always somebody against the grain, and it could stop the movement, you know. And these guys, you know, we're on the phone with each other all day long, like, you know, see a band. It's always that, and I just love that so much. But yeah, that's the goal, is just keep going and keep the music going, and keep the friendships going too. That's important too. Yeah. Family's important, you know. But yeah, we just want to get out there and do as much as we can, you know.
Oh man, that's a hell of an interesting story. Being able to open up for those bands as well, with Slipknot, Mushroom Head, and all those guys.
Yeah. Who else was there? There was the Gift album. I'm trying to remember. Taproot. Yeah, went out with Taproot. Yeah, I was out 3 months on the Save Your Sorrow tour with Mushroom Head, and Victory Records pushed that, and there was Autumn Offering, another great band, which now those guys are in Killer Confession. They're all friends of mine.
Yeah, it was around. So yeah, so there's definitely a ride here too. Actually, did you get a chance to talk with them too? Did you meet them face to face? Get to try to know them as friends? Mushroom Head, Slipknot, those guys, yeah.
Oh yeah, actually, Slipknot. The reason why we got on the Mayhem tour was because I was in a band called X Factor One. X Factor One was with Jägermeister, and we got to play some side stage stuff. We played Sonic Temple, which was called Rock on the Range. So I got to open up with Alice in Chains and Korn and all them. But the reason why we ended up on the Mayhem tour was because Slipknot. This is before all these social medias. We sold 60,000 CDs in 3 months out of a van, and we followed the first year of the Mayhem tour. We followed it. And Adam Grayer from Jaeger, great guy. I love Adam. Adam told he had a picture of me, and I'm like this, and it was this party called Mudfest. And Jaeger was, I got this bottle of, I got two, actually, it's like a bottle of champagne, the bottle of Jaeger. The champagne's going off, and somebody took this picture. Like, you know, when you take a picture, like down on, all these people are covered in mud like that, and he's seen it, and he heard we're that band in the parking lot, and he just admired our work ethic. And it was like, you know, we're out in the parking lot, and every car is playing X Factor One. This was the band before the Kutthroat. But they're all playing our music, man. And Corey found out about it. You know, I got to play with Stone Sour as well. I had previous run-ins with Corey. Yeah, I was their first tour. We opened up for them, and Corey found out about that. And next thing you know, we're opening the Jaeger stage, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Phoenix, Indiana, Pittsburgh. You know, we didn't play everyone, but we were on it. And, you know, just to be away from that, you know, we just stayed on it. If it was VIP, we didn't care. We just wanted to be around everybody, be around the music. You know, it's amazing, man. It's such an amazing feeling. And I hope our goals, you know, end up that with this band. You know, that's what we're trying to do, is just exposure, brother. You know, the love of music, and love every band out there too. You know, we're very humble about that. We discussed that. These bands that, you know, there's a lot of amazing kids coming out, man. A lot of amazing bands. I'm like, and I just feel like a lot of that stuff's coming back around too, man. You know, like what we had when we were younger. That kind of died off weirdly there for a moment.
Yeah. We'll get to that in just a second or two. There's among other things here too, because I do have some other questions about it. But I guess let's hear Phil's story.
My story? Well, like I was saying, we met, when we were kids, and, I always had, dreams and desires of being on stage playing music. You look up, up to bands like, Metallica and Motley Crue, and the list goes on, and when you get out there and you actually, you start creating buzz enough for yourself where you're invited, it was a loud
Loud
lineup.
Yeah, it was one.
We got to open up and play with some of the kings of rock, Dee Snider, Vince Neil, Poison,
Three Doors Down.
Three Doors Down. God bless.
God
bless the singer of him, and
amazing band.
we pray for that gentleman every day. But yeah, I mean, to share the stage with people that you idolized as a kid is amazing, and to see those guys perform to this day, it shows their talent. It really does. They're so amazing. Dee Snider was amazing what he did for the musicians of this country, putting the explicit lyrics so we can have our freedom of speech, amazing gentleman right there. But Will here, he's really good at what he does, and we just got a chemistry together, best friends for life, and here we are, here we are doing it again, and it's exciting, It's exciting to sit here with my bros here and with this interview. This is amazing. We enjoy this very much. Absolutely.
I gotta say like the whole focus sort of style. I sit here with my brothers. That old deal.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, brother.
Yeah.
It's going
Yeah.
down.
Like Will was saying, it's when everybody's going the same direction, nobody going against the grain. It really is for a smooth ride. It's yeah, man, let's do it. Yeah, it's badass. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I mean, it's really fun. Really, it's a good time.
You mentioned earlier something's wrong with the guy from Three Doors Down. Is he been okay, or what's wrong?
He has cancer.
He has cancer, and he made the announcement a couple of weeks ago, and Brad, that's his name, Brad. Yeah. Three Doors Down. He has I think he has some type of a kidney. Is it a kidney? No, I think it's kidney, like some type of a kidney cancer, and it's stage 4, brother. He's gonna beat it. And that's what we all want. He's got a lot of people behind him, man. And what a great band too. We talk about Three Doors Down since you brought it up. I remember the first time I seen them, I wasn't even there to see them, and this has been a decade ago. And I seen them play, and I was like, okay, what, dude, clinic.
I would say I wasn't really digging like their newest album. I don't know how long ago it came out, to be honest, but I remember The Better Life. That one was my jam back in the day. So
I never really got into like a lot of their music. There were some songs I liked, but I never really followed them like that. But like I said, that I did after that, because I mean, it really showed their chemistry as a band. Like, I know what a clinic is. When you hear it, you that's a clinic. And I was just wowed by them, man. They're a really good band, dude.
that's for sure. So let's get the prayers going here, people. Let's get him back out there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just real quick, Phil, I don't think I heard what role do you play in the band?
I'm more the vocalist, and help produce and the creation of what we have.
All right, thanks for sharing there too. And lastly, let's get Dan's story.
Okay, I'm the newest into the music scene, not as a member of this band. Bill was actually my brother. Will, I've known these guys all their lives. So I am the newest member in the music scene, but I did fast track myself about 6 months into a course just to get some of the basics. I do the DJ work, mixing, background effects, things of that nature. And with these guys' guidance and experience, it's going pretty good. They got a lot of knowledge. They're teaching me as well. And so I've been doing it for about 3 years.
He even took a drum. That's really surprised me because he like he said his course he took. You know, he was getting in because we wanted to step up our game with background fillers and everything. You know, with the choreograph and he took that course, but he was like, you know what else I got to do? I got to know timing better. This dude took a drum like 2 months on the drums, so he's like so he could play drums a little bit enough to know the timing with the DJ work. So
Yeah.
sorry for interrupting,
Okay,
but
thanks for
wanted to throw that. Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm enjoying myself. I really love it. It's fun, and I'm always learning.
Turntables.
Yeah, doing turntables,
Samples.
anything I can get my hands on and listen to, I'm gonna play it.
Definitely brings a huge additive to the band.
Yeah, he's definitely vital for it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they offered me a spot. They actually moved out of town for a while.
Well, we kidnapped them and we forced them.
I would go through shows, and kids, and follow them around town. And they ended up doing bigger and bolder things, and we just all ended up here.
That's not what happened, brother. We're getting our first Kutthroat Kingz press picture. Here's what happened. We're getting our first Kutthroat Kingz press picture, and I'm standing there. I'm like, what we call him? Dan? What'd you call him from the Rip? You had a nickname for him? Dano, or you called him like Danny Boy. Danny Boy.
Yeah.
I look
Danny Boy, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, we're trying to get look, Mateus, you know, we're trying to get this press picture. And hey, Danny Boy, can you hold this? Can you take the picture? He's like, well, I'm actually in the band. So, I never knew this. And he's like this, and he's okay. And then I just realized, I guess we needed that. I'm old school Led Zeppelin, like you got the cabinets and the bottom drumming and
No
just
in-ears.
no in-ears, no click track, you know what I mean? And it's always been solid. I've never had a DJ before. I've done samples and stuff on productions in the studio, but Dan's been a blessing. It really helps out tremendously.
Yeah, we're all great.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, I was excited because in my last band I wanted a DJ, and now I got one.
Took a spot. So the spot that was filled. Bye.
As I was
No, it's gonna-
crazy like the. Sorry, I was going to say I know we mentioned about Slipknot earlier too. I wasn't sure if he was going to be like the Greg Jones, who's always bobbing his head, but is always silent when he's in interviews, or he's he's Sid. He's like he's crazy as fuck, but he catches on pretty quick. So
Yeah. Sometimes we just need to listen to Dan. You know what I mean? That. There you go. Let Dan make the decisions, and we'll be just fine.
Might be a little easier for us.
they'd be like, "You are my voice of reason." That whole deal.
Absolutely.
That's definitely Dan.
All right. I guess speaking of the band here, Kutthroat Kingz. So I guess Willie, if you want to do it, unless anyone else wants to pitch in, I guess what's the history about it?
Oh, the history of Kutthroat Kingz in general?
Yeah, I guess you mentioned about all the bands you were in previously. It seemed you and Phil, and closest brothers from another mothers. That whole deal there too. So I guess how this come about?
Well, I mean, we like I said, we were in a band prior to this. After that national I was in, we're in a band called One in the Chamber, and it was making a lot of noise. And then, I was up north, living up north, but I also lived here after my national. I lived down here for almost 5 years, and I stepped away from the bigger shows and stuff like that. And then I went back. I went back up north to. We went back up north to Ohio, where my best friend Phil lived, and went back up north. And he wanted to play music. I still wanted to play music. He's like, hey, we did one of the chamber stuff, but I always knew that I was going to be back down in Sarasota, where I love, the ocean, the just everything that's down here. I just loved it. The weather, I loved it with all my heart. I've been coming here since I was a kid, and I bought a house down here. And then, as soon as I left, he's like, well, I'm buying a house down there too. If you're down there, I'm going down there. So, you know, the One in the Chamber stuff stopped. But I mean, we still had tracks that we recorded with the great Joe Beers, the guy I told you, Theory of a Dead Man, and Star Set. He's recorded Star Set. So we got these tracks still, and One in the Chamber never really finished what it was supposed to do. So we put this band together, you know, and we started moving that way, but we wanted to, where we had new material and things were changing, and actually, the Kutthroat Kingz name, we were trying to we had some names. Actually, my wife came up with that name, Kutthroat Kingz. She goes, "You guys are the Kutthroat Kingz."
That we are.
Yeah, you guys are the Kutthroat Kingz. And we're like, ooh, that's a cool name, you know. Yeah, you get guys that a band name is such a thing that all these members got these ideas. Like, how about Ninja Slipper? You know what I mean? Or you know what I'm talking about? Like, everybody comes up with these names, and it's best that you probably just leave somebody that loves you, that knows the band off to the side. It's so funny how sometimes that happens. My wife, you guys are the Kutthroat Kingz, and she said it walking by. I said, "What'd you just say?" You know what I mean? And we went with it, and we just stayed busy, and all this happened right around COVID too. So I mean, it was difficult. We were trying to go out and support, and people. We just couldn't find the drummer to fill in. We had some solid drummers and stuff stop by, but they just didn't make the cut. As in, once you start going against the grain, with me going against their grain, or and it's true. It's like you got to find a group of guys that even if I want us all to say no before one person says no. Like, are we going to do this? You know what I mean? And so that's how that's got to work. One guy says no. Imagine that. Imagine you got a group of guys and you get this offer to play something incredible. And say, I don't know, man. You know what I mean? So just, yeah. And we don't do that. It's like, but we'll figure it out. We're not going to say no. We say, oh, we'll figure it out. And all our family and everybody supports this project, and they love it. They love it when things work out for us. So that keeps us going. But that's pretty much how the band has started. And and really we're just starting to smell some of the reward. We haven't even it hasn't. We just have gotten this, like he said. Jeff was the element. I was almost ready to call it, because we've had drummers and stuff like that, and they'll work with us. And the next thing you know, we played some pretty good shows, and then they're like, they thought they were rock stars, and that was it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this is a big show. I know all the songs, and that's it, guys. And they flake off, and it's consistency that wins the race. So that's where we've been on that.
All right.
And now here we are with you, the incredible Bryan.
I am quite honored, sir. So no worries. I want to say, you need to give Jeff a hug right there for saving the day.
Oh, he has. He has too.
Yeah.
All right, we got a little broheme. Okay, there you go. Actually, no, brother. That's
That's a lot for me too, man.
so, there we go. All right.
But it's hard. It's hard whenever you want to get back into music, and finding the right people to play music with is hard. And around here, it's hard to find dedication, consistency. So when Will reached out, I didn't know what to expect. I come over here, I was blown away from night one, man. When I come over here and audition, it was just as balls to the wall since then, man. I loved it. But they told me, like, hey, man, we want you in the band. If you want to be in this band, I'm like, hell yeah, I want to be in it, man. So,
And then what did I say? I said, it's yours.
yep.
Then it's yours.
And,
You want to be in the band, it's yours. And I mean, you're why we're in this room.
everything's just been going forward, man. That's the way it needs to be. No looking back. Just go forward with it, man, and press on and do all you can with it.
That's pretty cool. So thank you, Jeff. We made this whole thing happen right here too. So I guess real quick, you want to show off the ink? What you guys got to in terms of tattoos and all?
I got a lot of real estate left, but I got my right arm done, and got some up here. He's got the new one.
New stuff. Yeah, here's a little bit. Here's the new one. We're working on the hands here. Roses and mics and roses. And I do got one for you though. Here you go, Ron. You ready? I didn't mean to do this, but that was a band I was in called Super Freak before X Factor 1 happened, and it says Super Freak, and you see the lady with the guns and the booty. But if you go like this,
Shaking that ass, shaking that ass, shaking that ass, shaking that ass.
It just happened, brother. You know, I do got this too. That's from Jägermeister, where I toured with the Jaeger for a decade.
We got a couple free shots for that one.
Well, I got one for you too. I got one that'll do something. I got a spinal cord here. I let people know, remind them, they get on my nerves, break the spinal cord, break the back.
Hey,
It's like,
Brian,
Dave going right there too. So yeah.
about that Jaeger tattoo. When I got it done, I was on the Mayhem tour, and it was in Madison, Kentucky, and we're playing with Five Finger Death Punch the next day. And dude, they just I literally sat with Ivan quite a bit. They just got a deal, and I don't know if you know this, but they're guitar players from Dayton, Ohio. So we're playing in Covington, Dayton area, and they're blowing up, and they're doing. So I got that done. There was a tattoo shop, and a guy said he's tattooed on Dime, and he's tattooed on these guys. And we had the Jaeger sponsorship, and they'd done so much for us. You know, I was on the Jaeger tour with Hatebreed and all them bands. And remember when Hatebreed and Typo Negative, I got to play with them. And so I get this tattoo done, and Ivan sees me the next day. I'm going to give him some shit, too. Ivan sees me the next day, and he goes, "What are you trying to do? Get a bus?" And he's like, like with all his buddies, they laughed at my Jaeger tattoo. And I'm like, Ivan, I'm thinking that now, all these years later, it's like, are those guys sponsored by Pepsi? They're that big, Yeah, he gave me some shit. What are you trying to do? Get a bus? It's like, and he turned out that band blew up, man. They were on the same Jaeger stage as us back when it all started.
Not the same as they used to be. I think they would tell you it's a little bit more of a hard rock. I guess that's some stuff like My Nemesis and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I heard the other day they're Pantera Light.
Oh, Pantera Light.
Are they touring with them? I know.
Stuff on them. It's been a while since it put some out, man.
I think I did see Pantera's with Amon Amarth.
I don't hear him as much anymore.
Yeah. So, I guess, who would you guys say has been really big influence in terms of your play styles and everything here too? Because I think I mentioned a whole bunch of bands so far.
Yeah, we all have pretty similar influences. Nirvana is a big one. I think these guys used to play a lot of Nirvana together.
Starting out as teenager,
Yeah, when I was learning guitar, when I was, 12, I used to jump around my house with a broomstick thinking I was like Kurt Cobain with my long hair, headbanging, and I wanted to play guitar, so I ended up picking up a guitar. I played a lot of Nirvana stuff, a lot of grunge stuff, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, all them. And later on was in a cover band, which I did a lot of 2000s rock, like Seether, Godsmack, Nirvana, Alice in Chains. We did a lot of stuff.
Godsmack was really big where you're from too.
Yeah, they're from New England, so we did a lot of I did a lot of New England circuit from Maine, Vermont, New York. You got Mass, down to Rhode Island, Connecticut, which was a good scene going down there. They're a pretty lively bunch down there in Rhode Island. They like to party and they like their local shows, man. They're a strong crowd. There's a lot different from I'm playing in New Hampshire. It's a very small towns and stuff, so you got to travel a little bit. So I did that for about 13 or 14 years, and my father moved down here, so I ended up wanting to be close to him. And a lot of my friends up north were pushing me to just go to a bigger city and a bigger, vaster area of musicians, and I was surprised how far and fast we made it down here compared to my old band. We had to crawl through every hole in the wall bar in Massachusetts, and it was like, it wasn't always fun, but we tried to make the best of it, So down here, I'm excited for all these upcoming shows. Like we're playing the Brass Mug in Tampa. I mean, I'm going to the big city now, so I've been having fun.
And I think a lot of our influences are the same though, guys. I mean,
we like a lot of new metal bands together.
If we don't want to go to the extreme. We don't want to be like every other band. So it's refreshing that I was talking this because it seems like a lot of these, and everything always makes a perfect circle too in music. It does. Even Lip Bizkit, they're saying they're like the best years right now are right now for them. And that is not even guys our age that's going to see Limp. It's kids that are 19, 20 years old. So it's came back to life, and it's circling back around like that.
Yeah, which is cool.
But everybody wants to be in a metalcore type band. You got the name's this. It's all scratched up. You know what I mean? It's like there's a billion of them right now, and I'm glad, and I do like that, man. I will bang my head to that, and we like to keep some heavy elements and some nice hooks, real hooky stuff. But we like the pocket, and we still dig an alternative sound. You could be metal and still have an alternative sound. You know what I mean? Like I was talking about, it's so weird. Marvin Gaye. Let's just talk Marvin Gaye. Remember "Mercy, Mercy Me"?
It sounds
Mercy,
familiar, but
mercy
He
me.
doesn't strike me as a Marvin Gaye fan.
No, it's an old song. It's an old. But Marvin was, whatever you talk him. It had psychedelic in it. That's my point. Is that there's bands and stuff that had that stuff. They were doing that way back then. So this R&B or whatever it was, whatever you want to categorize it.
Some of these deathcore heavy bands, when they're VIP and they're back there having their meals,
Oh yeah,
they're back there playing some Fleetwood Mac.
they all
They're
were.
back there playing some whatever.
Dude.
Still, I mean, they are.
The Mayhem tour with Kill Switch Engage. We're over there listening to we play this, Trivium's there, Kill Switch Engage. We're all under these tents, and we're waving at everybody as they're leaving because we don't have nowhere to be in a rush the next day. And I'm back there with Adam and all them, and they'll tell you, man, if I know I'm in this, but if I had my chance, I would have been Michael Jackson's guitar player, like, and we're back there listening to some funk, dude. You know what I mean? It's like, imagine playing the same thing and be it over and over. You got to have some versatility, or however you want to put that. I'm kind of glad that we want some heavy elements. We like heavy. I get into the march. I like the palm mute march stuff. The heavy, chunky Kill Switch elements. But man, I like alternative too, man. Some old Stone Temple Pilot stuff, man. Something that has a song.
Deftone.
Deftones, yeah, all of it.
We're pretty big Deftones fans here too. They're one of my top.
I think that's a good, Brian. I think that's a good what he just said right there. If you think about it, the Deftones, they were heavy. Remember, the first album was boom heavy, but it was still had that melodic energy. You know what I mean? And I really like that.
The Deftones are sexy.
Are they sexy? What do you think, Brian? Do you like that stuff? I mean, you get into that kind of vibe?
I was like, it's super sexy. That'll do. So,
Yeah.
but actually, yes. And actually, I saw Deftones when they were with Gojira and another band called Valves when they came out to Michael, which is Pittsburgh, by the way.
Cool.
So, but I think I'd give it to Gojira. I'll give it to Gojira. I think Gojira. I'll give it to Gojira. I think they totally rocked it there too. But I'll give Deftones credit. They did a good job as a
I
headliner.
used to play one of Joe's guitars, one of his signature Charavel's.
Do you consider that like new metal alternative, kind of alternative-y, with the how they got it? You know what I mean? There's a edge of that, clean and harmony, and
It's a little strange because it always seemed like they changed the sound, but they still made like killer albums. So you think of the song Engine Number 9, for instance, there too.
Yeah.
It's like,
Sometimes you have like a certain album that pops out that, it's like really hits mainstream. And it could be anybody from, Gojira or Slipknot or Tool. I'm a big Tool fan, but I'm more of the older Tool, And don't get me wrong, I love it all, but I favored the Enema album more. Some of the early Tool. A lot of that inspired me, to where the direction that I went to personally. But yeah, a lot of the later 90s, 2000s.
this guy lights candles. He lights candles and puts on Rammstein. If he plays another Rammstein song, but I knock on the door,
Section as they do.
there's candles, his house is dark. Phil, the door, and he's like walking around Rammstein. I'm starting a band with Brian if I hear another Rammstein song.
It's all du hast. Du
It's
hast
a great
mich.
rhythm section. I enjoy listening to it. I don't sit back and watch videos, but I do.
I'm just teasing.
No, I know it's all good. No, they got some solid rhythm sections. I do love me a good solid rhythm section. Absolutely. Hey, I'd open up for him. God damn.
My mom used to loved him.
Jeez, we're getting testy right now, boys. No, man. It's all good though too. So I mean, you guys certainly open up for a whole lot of bands that I know about because I'm a '90s kid. So I grew up with like Three Doors Down, Vertical Horizon, Bruce Springsteen. My dad got me with Bruce Springsteen, mainly his greatest hits album right there too. And then Van Halen. I was real big into Van Halen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah, I use a EVH. I have a EVH 5150 amp. He was one of my influences. I loved his stage presence. He had like awesome, exciting, high energy. That's usually what I look for in a band when I go see them live. I love how they move around, jump around, get into it, get the crowd into it, get involved. So I'm big into that too.
I'm about to call the mystery man out because I told you, Brian, like our guys in the band, not only will they not say no, and I'll call them later. They're like, "Oh, I already got that done." Plus, by the way, their story starts to open up more. That guy's the mystery man back there. That Jeff guy, man. He's in the band for a couple of months, and I'm super happy with him. We're getting just getting along with everything. He's doing all these things, his workout. Yeah, I'm like, I come to band practice. He goes, "You guys coming out to my show?" I said, "Show?" This dude's got like a whole acoustic tour booked over here. You know what I mean? He's like, "Yeah, that's if we ain't got a show going on, because I'll tell them no." You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm coming to. Yeah, I'm playing. So we go to his acoustic shows at the brewery. He's playing, and I think that was so cool. Like he just keeps surprising me. He's this mystery man drummer back here, man. This dude knows like 60 songs and can sing and play. I'm like, I didn't know you're my drummer.
who are you? What have you done with Jeff?
I know he does it all the time. Like,
Next thing you know, he's gonna be driving around in a mystery machine there too. You can think it's Scooby Doo. So, all right, this is all pretty cool. So, but we have to delve into the hard topic of COVID right here too. So, I guess whoever wants to go first, but I guess how bad was the COVID for you guys personally, family, and then music wise?
Yeah, like I said, with me, it was pretty rough because my dad ended up getting COVID, and he passed away from it. So, but that was probably my biggest supporter playing music was him. We learned how to play piano when I was 4. He taught me some stuff, and then he told me one day, he's like, "I can't teach you anything else. You surpassed me. You're doing more than I know how to teach you." And I just always loved it. I played piano for a long time, just writing stuff on it and just playing it for fun. I never done it to a band or anything. And then about 12 years old, I got into guitar and drum at the same time. I had a friend that was a drummer, and I kind of picked up both of them. And my dad, he played guitar too, and he kind of taught me some stuff on that. And once again, he said, I played more rhythms, so you're doing more than I can do. And a lot of stuff, and I learned, from him and playing shows. I would dedicate stuff to him when he comes to me play. So when he passed away from COVID, it was a big hit for me. Not having him around anymore. He was a big supporter of anything I wanted to do with music, whether he enjoyed the music I played or didn't understand it. He still supported me, and that was a big hit for me.
I'm sorry to hear that, mate. So, I'm sorry. So,
Yeah, definitely put a curve in everyone's lives for sure. Absolutely.
I guess have you guys formed Kutthroat Kingz at this point, or I guess what was the official date for Kutthroat Kingz?
No, it was right after COVID happened, bro. I'm thinking we was working more towards the Kutthroat Kingz were still getting together, but it was really tough. I mean, we didn't, we had a drummer that, was supposed to come over, and he was from Miami area, and he's a pretty good drummer. He was going to come over, and we had this COVID stuff going on, and you couldn't have people over, and we still did, you know what I mean?
We didn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I mean, we did, but
it was us. I know whether or not, if I'm going to get sick, I guess I'm sick, but I don't feel sick, and my wife's, obviously she's I didn't tell you, but she's a nurse. So I remember, and I'm a truck driver, through the day, with the bands, I drive trucks and got a pretty good schedule with that, big trucks and stuff. But so it didn't stop us from going to work. We just heard that this thing's going around, and my wife had to go in, they're like, people are dying from day one, and we just looked at each other like, the roads were empty, everything kind of went on it, and no one knew, everyone could say what they want. They could say, this, people are skeptic about these, it wasn't real, or people say all this stuff. It was real. People died, but it's like no one knew nothing. But to the very next day after that happened, I lost my mom too. My mom died that February of 2020. So she could have had it. She already had some underlying issues. I mean, she was like 70. So I lost my mom. You lost your dad. But no one knew nothing. Really too much about it. And it did put all, as a band wise, you got all that going on, but band wise, it did put a halt on a lot of things. Remember a lot of the bands were, if you wanted to watch a band live, it was through like Skype. That these bands were, wasn't they Skyping? Like the bands would play a show, you'd have to get an invite to watch a band play. So it held us up. So it wasn't until 2022 that we already lost this guy. The drummer, and then, just probably about 3 or 4 different people trying to, do the role, and some of them might have been good for us. And then there was a couple of them that wasn't. And like Jeff was saying down here, these guys will tell you down here, you either got extremely heavy thrash, because, Tampa, I don't know if you're familiar, but Tampa area, St. Pete, Clearwater is the home of thrash. And I like thrash too, but if you don't, you have to have diverseness with bands, and I think that's really cool. But so a lot of bands wanted to be that we wasn't their cup of tea. They might have not been our cup of tea, but you had that, and so I almost gave up. When me and Phil almost gave up.
Well, I want to make myself clear. We
if it happened, it happened, and boom, it happened, and it was like that.
Right. We respected the rules and the regulations of everything. We respected, what was going on. But I want to make myself clear as far as like our relationship, our friendship, as far as him and I in our circle, we wasn't going to allow any entity to stop me and him from being, have our friendship, us being.
We were still writing.
We were writing, we did stay away. We respected everything like everyone else did, but we couldn't allow that entity to keep us separated. I mean, you watch Georgia Florida line, they did the same thing. They united their families. Yeah, they're not a band anymore, but at that time, they didn't stop. They did not stop, and either did him and I, So, but we respected, what was going on and obeyed the rules, but we wasn't going to stop doing what we love to do.
I think part of it too, fortunately, we live in a state that once we opened up, we didn't close back up. They said, we're not going to close anything else. It's just, once we opened, it was party on at that point. So places started opening back up, more venues started opening for us to play at. So
the scene's changing here too. I didn't even tell you that. Like, that's what I said. It was kind of difficult because you had either you're in a cover band that's playing Damn, I Feel Like a Woman, or some of them songs that I ain't gonna be able to do it. You know what I mean? So either you're in a cover band that plays that kind of stuff, or you're in a straight heavy thrash. There was no in betweens here, but weirdly enough, man, the scene's actually starting to look good. And I'm like, wow, really? I shouldn't even get into this because this is some good stuff, but down to labels, record labels and stuff that normally would not. Yeah, that all that's changing. It's surprising me. That's some secret stuff, but it's surprising how the scene and different things are happening. Well, we're excited for it. I some of the stuff I haven't even seen before happen before. So some good stuff going on, man.
What was that? Should we call this going nomad, so to speak, with terms of making your own music?
Yeah.
You guys see the point. So, first off, on a serious note, I'm sorry for any losses. You guys lost along the way here too. So, but it's good to see you guys have pulled through. And it's good to see we formed this band right here too, and we're here today. So,
Absolutely, yes. Yep.
and isn't it supposed to be death metal out of Tampa? I thought it was meant to be death metal, not thrash metal.
It's actually it's a death metal thrashy. There's a deathcore. And we have elements of that in our stuff, but it ain't the whole song.
A lot of too.
Nothing against that stuff, but there's
No.
you have your heavy hitters, and I Suicide Silence. I could tell you stories about that too. Well, they opened up for me, believe it or not. And Mitch did die. The singer, you remember Mitch? He had a Harley accident. I ended up really liking that guy, but I did start off on the wrong foot with that guy.
Here's what happened.
But,
you guys, some words were exchanged.
No, he came to my club. I never even heard it. So I told you about we were from Columbus, Ohio. So I was in a band called X Factor One, and we were. It was Sworn Enemy, Sepultura, and my band is it was the Boba Flexes and bands like that was the big boys in the tri-state area, and we had a Jaeger sponsorship, and we're the big boys. I never heard, and I never seen this guy before in my life, and I'm trying. I'm really busy. The place is sold out, and by the way, it's the Alrosa Villa. You know about that place?
Not too familiar with it.
That's where Dimebag died.
Oh, that was the place where Dime died. Oh man.
Yeah, that was our home base. I played that club. We played that club a lot. And I'm actually really good friends with Rick Catella, the guy that owned the club. X Factor One would sell it out. One in the Chamber, we played with Jackal there and sold it out, and done a lot of stuff there. But that's where that show happened, and I didn't know Mitch. I just thought he was some dude. He like walked up, like you remember Mitch? He just the kind of emo type hairdo, and I'm handling three things at once. Yeah. 3 things at once, and this guy goes, I'm like trying to get our merchandise put up, and he goes, where I get some good pizza around here? Willie Jive, your fucking mom's. You know what I mean? I was just like, somebody else answered his question. I didn't even know he was a singer of Suicide Silence. And, they ended up opening the show because, at that point, they're still under a label. They were on the tour. I had no clue. They just put a second, even though X Factor One was a big band. Suicide Silence actually grew some big momentum, and I seen him out on the road, and he's looking at me. We still sold a lot of records, but we wasn't Suicide Silence. You remember I told you about Ivan saying, what are you trying to get, a bus? Jägermeister actually had 2 tour buses. They had the Jaeger bus with the Jaeger, and they had an artist bus. Here's Mitch hanging out. He's hanging out. They get the bus because they're the next big thing. He's looking at me, hanging out the bus, watching me sell CDs at the thing before everything changed. The CDs and stuff. But sorry, man.
My bad.
So, I know who you're talking to.
Yeah, it's just but there's only one Slayer, brother. There's only one Slayer. in that realm, with the harder rock and alternatives, that you could have many. There's many spots. There's all these big hitters. When you're talking, the death metal and thrash and stuff like that, there's typically, it's the Gulf of Slayer. It's not the Gulf of America. Slayer. I'm just saying, there's one Slayer. There's I know you got triviums and stuff like that. You already know how it goes. It's really hard with 9 billion bands that want to sound like, how they got let's talk the initial start of the chicken scratch writing of bands. Deicide.
Oh yeah,
Right?
it was one of the Morbid Angel. Yeah,
Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse. Yeah, I don't even think Cannibal Corpse, you could actually read Cannibal Corpse. You know what I mean? It's a Cannibal Corpse.
well, you can read Morbid Angel too. But yeah.
It's just, if I was in a band like that, it's, man, you really gotta, your odds are probably better at what we do. I'm going to want to say that. But then again, it's like they put a lot of these bands on second stage that are heavy like that, but no one remembers who they are.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing there too.
Yeah, you got to have a song, right? So, it's like Pantera, they go into these breakdowns, the Pantera, people remember Walk. They're going to remember Walk before they're going to remember a song from Job for a Cowboy. And I had a great time with them too. I like that, some of their stuff too.
Oh, you saw.
You see where I'm going with that, right? What's that?
Let's say you got like I said, you got quite an impressive resume. But yeah, you met all these bands too. But like, nobody can replicate the sounds that the gods, in this case, we can call them, like what you see with the death metal legends like Morbid Angel, Deicide, and those guys.
Right, and that's what I mean. It was that. If you start talking Argonder, to be able to get out and play, I guess that people could look down on that because there's so many of us, but there's more opportunity, I guess, in our style of music. It's more broad. There's not everybody wants to hear Deicide. Those go to the clubs and there's like 6 dudes up front with these bands that want to be like a Deicide type band. There's only one Deicide. There's only one Jobs for the Cowboys, one Suicide Silence. There's only it's this. You know what I mean? And that. But in my level, you got the Deftones, Korn, Tool, Slipknot. It keeps up. There's a list. Powerman 5000, Rob Zombie, Kill Switch and Gate. Seriously, I'm going. It's more radio friendly, I guess. Is that what I want to say? More radio friendly.
Yeah.
I guess we got to segue to this question here, but I guess would you say that's kind of the challenges you guys face these days, or I guess what are challenges did you kind of face in the past of the other bands you've been a part of?
The challenges of this band or the other band?
That could be both, but I guess start first with Kutthroat Kingz. I guess what challenges do you guys face these days as this band?
Places to play that are kind of close. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of that. Everybody loves the thought of living by the beach, but I mean, there's these towns. When we up north, there's a lot of places to play, a lot of things going on. And the crowds are big.
Yeah, you don't have to travel as far.
We just as you was talking about that the Oglethorpe Lounge in Georgia and Albany and all the dude, those people are all about it. You know what I mean? It's like that's all they have to do. There isn't a beach. And if they're going to the beach, they have to drive 3 or 4 hours to get to the damn thing. You know what I mean? Or nobody wants to go see. I could be wrong. Like I said, it's coming around though. These breweries are starting to play stuff like that. They're kind of stepping away from the cover bands, and I appreciate that. I like a good cover band too.
I love all that stuff. As far as Beachy, Beach Boys, Slayer, all that stuff. I mean, there's a real wide variety of music that I love it all. And
did you say the Beach Boys and Slayer?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, one extreme to the next. But my point is no one wants to eat spaghetti every single night. It gets old. That's all I'm saying. I love it all. I mean, it just depends on my mood, but I don't want to listen to the same music
Right.
every single
But also, nobody wants to eat shrimp cocktail and crab legs at the Ocean Pier. Why the Kutthroat Kingz are playing? Maybe they do. I don't know. You know what I mean? You see where I'm going? Like, yeah, these a lot of people, and you got to think. That's what I'm saying. Imagine even heavier than us. It would be if you know, and I try to keep that in mind. Like, you know, with the writing, think about that. Places where we're at, you know, so we're gonna have to really travel. And this band's willing to do it. We just did it. We just came back. You know, it's like Father's Day. I'm walking in. Hey guys, my kids were happy that I got to play. You know what I mean? I got kids at home, and they were happy to see Dad, you know, play. And they're looking at the pictures, and my daughter's, you know, she'll be 16. You know, if she's 15, she'll be 16. And all her friends are like, "Your dad's in a band," and you know, they're happy that, you know, they find it cool. And but you know, we're willing to do stuff like that. So I guess it's not too much. That's the challenge of getting our band out there. You know, we can't go over to Siesta Key and put off a metal show. They want reggae. I like reggae too, like he was talking about, like Phil was talking about. We like those things too, but that's a challenge when, you know, the beach club, they want to hear Bruno Mars.
Pick up the Beach Boys next.
Bob Marley.
Yeah, I mean,
Bob Marley, Bruno Mars, Jimmy Buffett.
Wasted away
you know what?
here in Margaritaville. See ya.
I want to send you a package so when you talk to your other bands, you remember that? Play some Skinner. You know, the cover band, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna mumble it.
Play Freebird. So yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna say, "You a Freebird?"
He always know Freebird. He always gotta play Freebird.
I was like, I love Freebird. You know, but how many times do I gotta turn on the radio and it goes, I turn the channel and it's Freebird and it's Freebird, and you know, I get it, but it's like, let's play a variety of things, you know, that's all, you know, we're not super heavy. We're have some, I guess it depends on who's listening.
Oh yeah, people's told us we're heavy. I'm like, well, you haven't heard heavy.
Yeah, and then others would say, oh, well, you guys are heavy, but not like this, you know. And you guys, we're more in the pocket, you know. We're bass.
Well, I mean, we're in a drop C tuning, so I mean, if that goes in the category, but there's you know, the rhythm section it could get a lot heavier if you get my drift.
We
Yeah,
actually,
we're a couple down tunes away from having 7-string guitars.
Yeah, well, we talked about those, haven't we?
actually, you know, the writing material, it actually, and I'm not going to tell you what stories or what it's about, because the one thing that I don't want to do is tell someone our story with a song, because it takes away the connection that they could have with a song when they can create their own story to it. You know what I mean? So sometimes when they connect with a song, it's because there is a connection in their heart and their mind to it. And if you tell them your story, then it takes it away from their own imagination or their own experiences with their own feelings to that song. So I really don't share our message like that. If someone asks, I'll tell them. But I like for people to find their own connection to our music.
Actually, that was one of the questions that delve into the lyrics. Just mainly 2 songs. We don't have to spoil anything else for any other songs you guys have currently in production. But I guess for Pressure and Ride or Die, I guess, do you want to elaborate what those songs are about? Or is that...
Well, go ahead, Will.
Pressure was about, I mean, it comes right off with, I'm sick of the dreaming. The waiting's just begun. Say it and mean it. My time has come. That's talking about the dream of being a rock star.
Struggles.
And the struggles, you know, and and we all, it's so funny, especially with all these bands. Have you ever looked at all these bands that are incredible, and you go to their page and you see, and they give their life for it, and they spend thousands of dollars on gear, and you look, and every member, even our band, I probably got about a few thousand friends, either 2,000, all these friends, and they'll like pictures of me drinking a beer over here. But when it comes to your band, you'll see they look and they never hit like. All these bands, they'll have like, what is this? Is it like you guys just like going? Is like, I just never ever got that. So, and the song says, "I can't take this shit no more. Respect. Love to put my hands around your neck. All I hear is voices in my head. I just don't get that shit. Like, support everybody that you could support, man. And that's their, if you love somebody and that's your friends and stuff like that, even if you don't dig their band per se, support your bros, man. Support other bands. I always told Phil, me and Phil talked about this, how this popularity contest bullshit. Musicians like Jim Morrison that never seen the Doors and all them guys back, and imagine how it all started. They just got together and go to the whiskey and play. It was open night, jam night type deal, and just far out, cat. I got Brian on the drums. Cool. It was never. Everyone should support each other, brother. The different, being different is cool. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what pressure's about. We've all had that dream, and we push hard. So I kind of made a song about that. And I can't take this shit no more. Respect. Love to put my hands around your neck. If you listen to the song, that and Ride or Die had a lot to do with my friendship with Phil and these guys. My Ride or Die, brother. That's
Metaphorically, not physically.
Yeah.
So everybody's aware.
Really?
Not that sort of ride. Not that riding. So actually, I thought it was gonna be bad motor scooter sort of deal with Patros. So yeah.
No, it's we and that song, I kind of like writing songs like that have that. I think that has like it's kind of weird. Somebody said that they feel like that song belonged in what was the one with Patrick Swayze, that movie with Patrick Swayze where they surfed and all that shit.
Roadhouse.
It's like yeah. No. Like you're surfing, like they said it belongs in like a kind of movie like that. It has that summary.
Robin Banks.
Yeah, Robin Banks and jumping out of planes. It has that summary, cool vibe to it. And I thank them for it. I'll take it. Like Phil was saying, I can tell you the things with these songs and what I thought when I was writing them and stuff like that. But everybody puts a different perspective to this. So what I might come across about the art of the song, somebody else thinks differently. They might think it's about a girl relationship. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, okay. Addictions,
That's pretty cool. So I guess how many songs do you guys currently have in production? Did you say you were going to do 5?
Our set's 11. We have 11. We also do a cover song. We have a couple cover songs that we do. We like to do those because we'll throw a cover song in. We'll kind of do it our way, but we bring everybody up on stage. Like we've been doing that Filter Nice Shot. I think the rhythm to that song. It's a real bass driven. Drum and bass rhythm song, and you get people up, and you get, next thing you know, I got, there might only be 30 some 40 people in that club, but then everybody's on stage and they're like, up on our stage, and it lets people have fun. We use that. We use that one as a closer.
The other band members come out.
I get the other band members. Hey, get Bobby up here from Poised or whatever band, get him up here. Well, I want this. We call him out. Get up here and sing this song with us, brother.
We want them involved.
Yeah, and everybody has a fun night that way.
Here for the same.
Let's say we've been taking the Hulk Hogan reference ever since the beginning here too. So,
Yeah.
brother, that's our deal. So,
Well, what is it with you and the Hulk, Brian?
you know,
The next one over.
actually, I don't think he's an interesting character too.
He's
But
up there too, right?
honestly, I thought it more hilarious when he was just ripping off that shirt during the Republican presidential convention.
Is this what you is it? Are you
No, I'm not. I just thought it was hilarious to be like, I'm just ripping off my shirt here, man. I'm just trying to look cool
Hey, dude,
and all that stuff. So yeah,
He's got a shop. I've been to his shop up in Clearwater. It's a really cool place.
But that too is pretty cool. He's there all the time.
Hulkamaniacs, brother.
you know, they also brought up it's like some funny cartoons. I know there was one with it's called Robot Chicken. I don't know how much you guys watched like late night cartoons on Adult Swim and that sort of stuff. So they brought it up a couple of times.
Green, right?
It's like Hulkamania is running wild, brother. That old deal. So that's why I bring it up here too. But it's also funny when he does the whole brother deal. And actually, there was a friend of mine. He's also based out of Florida too, and he had actually met Hulk Hogan face to face and had a nice chat with him too. So, sure, decent human being, but should just stuck with.
That's what I heard.
So
Yeah, a lot of people go to his place in Will somewhere over in Clearwater. And if he's in there, he makes time to talk to people and interact with them. And so he's a really good dude. He's all about just meeting new people.
I should have just stuck away from the politics. I think people are a lot more better when they don't get political.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we don't do that.
No,
But I digress. So
that stays outside the door.
The door, yeah.
that's good. But I guess jumping into the next topic here about AI and social media. I guess what do you guys make of it these days? Double-edged swords.
Yeah, I don't know, but like I told you, I'm not all the bands that I've been in. How my bands got big when I was younger, and I was known in 3 or 4 different states. Like Willie did this last night. Back in that, and I did a post about that. That hand-to-hand combat, as we used to call it, that means a flyer. That means take your ass out. Go support another band, hand a flyer, meet these people and say, hey, I'm Willie Jive. I'm with Kutthroat Kingz. I'm Phil. I'm with Kutthroat Kingz. And you hand the flyers out and you're meeting these new people, but you're hitting, you talk about, the double-edged swords. How about hitting 2 birds with 1 stone? I could go like this and go click and send it out to, that's nice to have. But how many of them people are really going to show? That might be a problem. And if you start to look at these rock shows, and because you remember the rock shows back in the day, remember when it was always packed? That's because guys like me was literally like going to these places that were an hour away to see that other band, and they'd see me. And even if they didn't make it out to my show, I was damn sure going to go out to theirs. And I got all my band, and we'd try to go out to these shows, and we'd hand flyers out. And that's how it popped for us. That's how it worked. Even the mailing list. Remember the mailing list? You'd sign the mailing list and you'd send. It was so cool because it is that extra work. But imagine how those people felt when they signed the mailing list and the band sent them a sticker or something.
Big, yeah.
That's the problem, brother. There's no way that you could hit that element of the social media.
There's not that face to face anymore.
But that's all these people want. That's all they care about to click, and it's like, well, that seems to be that it's good, but it's a problem too. It's a problem too, brother.
Stop hiding behind the computers and the telephones. It's when you're face to face interacting, people will remember you. They will remember that more than just a little something off. I mean, don't get me wrong, the social media platforms are a great thing, but we can't forget our roots. We got to get out there and you got to work. You really do. You got to get out there and you got to talk to people. You got to get out there and meet these, club owners and, people in the music industry. I mean, at some point, you have to walk away from the computer and you have to get in your vehicle and you have to go meet these people. But it's required.
But where the platforms are good is what we're doing right now. I could dig that. I get that.
Great.
I get that because then you know you have that's different. But as the band to get out there and actually, it's great. You know, but there's a lot of people that see your show that's going to see Cutthroat through this, and I'm happy for that, and I'm very grateful. But you know, come on, after you see this, hopefully you come out to a show. You know, don't just rely on that. You know, too. You know, get out there and support other bands, and I think other bands should physically go. I think the handbills and the flyers are really cool. We still got them. We got some right, you know, around here for our next show, and we make them small, like, and it's got the band's information on it too,
I
man.
challenge you to have a good time.
So, yeah.
Yeah, like you said, the little flyers, you know, just as something that is a little information card you hand off to people. And well, hey, the member of this band actually gave it to me. And you know,
Got a couple hundred likes talking about that. I'm glad you brought that up, Brian, because I did get like a couple hundred likes about that, and I didn't even put a picture with it. I put, and I never ever do that on my Facebook, Instagram. I never ever go into these topics, but I did. I was like, you know something, I really do appreciate platforms and stuff like this, but where did we lose? Where did we lose this? You know, in-person thing where yes.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
They're gonna remember me when these guys. They always say Willie. We just wind him up and we let him go in the bar, and he's this social butterfly. You know what I mean? Well, you've seen today, Brian. Me, but you know, it's a good quality to have too.
Actually, no, I was thinking one of those mechanical monkeys you would use to like just twist it that way, and it was like no deal. So, all right. But yeah, right there too. A lot of the bands I have interviewed on my podcast, these are people obviously that work at a full-time job, and then music's the secondary, same sort of income. I'm pretty sure they do some sort of income, but they obviously enjoy it as like more of a hobby above all else. But because they're on a budget, they go for the AI stuff to give them the artwork in that case. So I don't know if that's how the artwork came about with the banner behind you, or somebody make that.
The banner behind me, yeah. I seen this. I was looking at different art that was for sale, and I was really intrigued by that. Yeah, separate. Yeah, I was really intrigued by that. You know, and if you think we're a Florida band, and you see the sun hitting that person and just absorbing them into the sunlight, you know, and I thought it was really cool. And yeah, we dug that, and yeah, I kind of built that too. It was some of that, and I worked with the colors and the contrast and stuff like that. But yeah, that was our like backdrop type album cover from the rip. You can see that.
It's like the vine whenever you look at it there too.
Yeah,
Actually, it's more like a Born of Osiris. Do you see with Follow the Signs?
yeah, exactly.
I can see that. That was a killer album way back in the day. So
I really dug it though, man. You know, it looked like, you know, you could see a lot in that picture, you know.
it's like, damn son, you thinking and shit. So yeah.
That's a first for me.
Like you was saying, you know, when most of the bands that we interview, you know, they have jobs, and we, don't get me wrong, we have jobs as well, you know. We try to be full-time musicians, but you know, we gotta pay the bills just like everyone else, you know. But there are entities, there are things out there, there are management groups out there that can develop you if you're willing to do so, where it's stepping stones, you know, and you can, if you try hard enough, and you're, I don't want to sound like this, but obviously the talent has got to be there first. But if you're forthcoming and you want to move forward, there are ways to have stepping stones to, because it's like I said, a development agreement where they know that everyone has to have a job. They're aware of this, but it's restructuring you as a band to mold you to veer away from that and to excel into your dreams without it being too much of a culture shock or too much of a financial burden. Yeah, in order to go from here to here, you got to cross that bridge. And that's a lot of the development management, you know, the groups out there, you know, certain labels have those, certain management groups have those, and there are ways to do that. But, you know, a lot of times, you know, life gets in the way, you know, people's got families, you know, careers, education.
That's not happening with this band, though. That's not happening with this band, though. And that's what I told you when I told you, Brian. I said, I'll say something, and you'll get the phone call, and I'll say something to these guys, and it could even be like a 4th of July or whatever. They'll find a way. These guys are going to find a way to do it. So when you start saying no, then people like Brian's going to start saying no, and people like these you know, like he was talking about management groups. Start telling them no. You know, you can't say no. You have to say yes, and if you can't be in all the way, you got to try to find a way to work it out. You know, and these guys, we've had several management groups reach out to us, and they're pretty heavy hitters, and I was surprised. Like, I don't know if there's an aura or a vibe that they're seeing that this band, not my band, this band don't say no. We're not going to say no. So if you don't say no, and you got somebody in the industry that could work with you, and they say, well, the project's, it's good, but we need to work on these gray areas, like the stuff that we're not very good at with, like I told you, my old school ways with the flyers and stuff like that. You know, that they want to bring us into that, but also not lose the other end. You know what I mean? So we've been getting a lot of feedback, and it's crazy because I was surprised, you know, but that was Jeff's doings. I put a little buzz in Jeff's ear. Next thing you know, Universal Records is calling us. Not quite. You know, I'm not saying that, but it wouldn't surprise me. I'll be like going down the road. Jeff, did you really contact? What was the guy from Wayne's World? Remember Mr. Big Records? You know.
I just remember the Alice Cooper scene right there too. Like, we're not worthy. We're not worthy.
We would be, yeah. Wouldn't surprise me if you don't say no and keep pushing and push and shoot for the stars. Good things will happen, man. I promise you. You just work hard, be humble, keep writing, keep practicing. It's good.
I'll tell you,
by one.
Something I've always lived by, and not even just music, but anything. I've always heard this. You always miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So you got to take the shot. I mean, if you want it, you got to go for it. You don't take the shot and go for it, you're definitely not going to get it.
You're never going to know.
That's right.
Yeah.
Game's on the line. Goes for free.
Yeah.
Ding. That'll do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. So, actually, I was going to cue the Kiss song right here too, given what Phil was talking about earlier. He's like, you know, your man is working hard. He's worth a deuce. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's a good topic to bring. I don't know how much time we have left, but you know, that's when you talked about influences and stuff. You know, I was a kid, and Kiss was one of my first concerts. You'll find this interesting. Kiss was one of my first concerts, and I seen them on the Asylum tour. I was probably 6 years old, 6 years old, and my older sister, took me to go see Kiss and Ted Nugent. And Ted was still young, cat scratch
She probably
fever.
had to. She's probably babysitting.
She's probably he's humping the guitar. I'm just a kid, and I was like, oh, I want to be that. And Kiss had all, you know, they just got out of makeup. Probably 3 albums before that, they were out of makeup. Kiss was up there, and they had Fire and Feel My Heat. You know, they're I'll never do that again either. But but you know,
you're gonna feel the heat tonight, baby. So yeah. So
I get in this band, you know, and I'm, you know, I always looked up to Kiss, and I wrote it on my folders as a kid, Kiss and all this stuff. And I got into Metallica and stuff, but those are some of the concerts as a kid. To tie that up, I you know, now I'm opening up for bands like Earshot and all them bands. Remember Earshot and Stereo Mud and bands like that. I'm opening up for these bands. I even opened up for Motley Crue and Megadeth when I was 20 years old. My sister that took me to see Kiss actually was there to see me open up for Motley Crue and Megadeth. You know, it was one of my first big shows when I was younger. But then I'm doing that kind of stuff, but then I have a day off, and I heard that Kiss and Aerosmith was coming to this place in Ohio, and I scored some tickets, and I was right up close, and I'm like so excited to see Kiss, right? Kiss, and I'm like, Kiss is headlining, and Saliva was on it. It was like Saliva's first real tour. It was Saliva, Kiss. I thought Kiss would headline. That's Kiss. No, Aerosmith headline, and I dug Aerosmith, but I've never seen Aerosmith, and I got a real quick lesson on why Aerosmith was headlining. No offense to Kiss, but
To drop out.
no, Kiss is kind of they're a 4-piece kind of a garage bandy kind of feel. It was fun as a kid, but there's a big step that's my opinion. That's my personal opinion on professionalism when you got a guy like Joe Perry and Steven Tyler during that time. I haven't seen him since, but Aerosmith, out of all the concerts I've seen, Aerosmith was just like, and I was even talking because I like to talk a lot. So I'm talking, and I'm like, and people are like, shut the fuck up, dude. Aerosmith's getting ready. And I got a beer. I'm like, I've already seen Kiss. And I'm like, oh, that's Aerosmith. Badass, dude. It was one of the coolest concerts I recall. Those are legends, but just down to your first concert. What was your first concert?
I went to Ozfest. I got to see Ozzy.
He went straight to the top.
Yeah. My first band that I saw when I went in was Disturbed, and got to find out what a mosh pit was real quick. It was fun.
What was you, like 30 when you seen your first concert? No,
No,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I guess 99.
It was like R.I.P. Matthias.
16, so then 15, 16.
Yeah,
So I get to see Pantera and all them way back, and
we were there.
and I was after that I went to I've been to so many shows, many shows.
What about your first, Jeff?
My first concert was Korn. I bought my own ticket, and I was like, damn it, I'm going. And my best friend in school at the time, we drove to Atlanta. Back then it was the High Five Miles Amphitheater. I think it's called something else now, but we saw Korn play. That was a badass experience. I mean, that was our first concert. That was one of our main idols in school. We really liked and followed. So,
What about you, Danny boy?
Jody Watley.
My first concert was live and PJ Harvey.
Wow. Live's a great band too. I see that.
Mine was it was 1992 Metal Church opening for Metallica's Wherever You May Roam tour. That was my first.
Yeah, that would have been was it the Injustice for All?
That was at Buckeye Lake, Ohio. It was actually the Wherever You May Roam tour.
But the album would have been either it was the Edge of the Black
That was a
album.
black album. That was a black album. Yeah.
Yeah.
It probably hadn't even dropped yet. It probably was just getting ready to drop. You think 94?
I was 19 years old.
Yeah, the Black Album was out in 94. It was out, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it came out in 91.
Yeah, I think anyway.
Okay.
I thought it was 91. But anyway. I wasn't sure if I went to add anything else.
I just like with mine. I had to stand in line at the FYI store in the mall or FYE store in the mall to get my Ticketmaster ticket to see Korn. Now it's all digital. just talking about it made me think of it. It's like, man, we stood in line for hours to get our ticket to see Korn. Little Ticketmaster stub ticket, and so much simpler nowadays. The thing, it's all changed. Everyone's changed.
Yeah. All them guys stopped doing drugs, and now they're putting together. You go backstage with a backstage pass, and they're playing Jenga and shit.
Well, the 4-day festivals are huge now. The 4-day festivals and the rock cruises. So you're talking like days
Never
end
done
shows. You got, festivals that are going 4 days. Like we didn't really have that when I was younger. We had one day, and you had to squeeze all that fun into one day. And now it's like, you got stuff like Rock on the Range, Welcome to Rockville, the Rebellions. There's a ton of them now. You got the Shiprocked, which is awesome. That's a fun one to go on if you can afford it. But the Shiprock, you're walking around the boat with all the band members too, so you get to meet them, mingle with them. you know, I met a ton of guys on that. I went 2 years and I met some of my idols, you know.
That's
He's
Danny
also a
Weimer.
nice little kiss too. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's all Danny Weimer.
Oh jeez. Actually, I'll go ahead and say it. I barely saw like bands like Lost Lonely Boys because there was a venue not too far from my house right there. But I would say my first ever band was Job for a Cowboy, and then they had As I Lay Dying as well.
Yeah, they played in my hometown. It was Born of Osiris with Job for a Cowboy, and man, it was a small little bar, and they wrecked the place. They were way too much for Key, New Hampshire.
Can you do that part, Brian? That again.
I can't do pig. I can't do pig squeals. It's like
Yeah, the
Oh
big
yeah, the
wheels, yeah.
low one. I call
that
it.
was the 2-minute machine. Yeah, no deal. It's like preheat pizza rolls. That's pretty much what they're saying. That's what the figures say about it's like what feeds me, of course is not a machine or that whole deal. They did play that song. Actually, that was in Austria. It was not in my neck of the woods. That was overseas when we saw the poster of As I Lay Dying and Job for a Cowboy. Salzburg, Austria, to be more exact. Killer show. It was definitely one for the high school ages. So
It's funny that you bring that up. You
Is he
can
gonna
keep
do-
talking, but I'm going to show you something.
it's not
You
funny,
talking.
but I guess well,
Job for a Cowboy is what I was talking about. That well, it wasn't then, but yeah, we went to. It was like one of the last mayhems, and I was helping Whitechapel do their drums and stuff and break their stuff down. And Job for a Cowboy was on it, and I'm trying to pull
That's
this
actually
picture
when
up.
we did a meet and greet with Terry. Terry King.
Yeah, well, we it was Kissing Candace was there too. I'm friends with those guys. It's a pretty good band, but
They're from here.
yeah, I'm trying to pull up this picture for you. It was a cool moment, but they actually wanted us to stay on the tour with them. I got to find the man himself.
actually there was somebody who was doing big squeals
by the way,
at the venue. And like he's here, Johnny. He was like, "Fuck off, kid."
see that guy? That's me and Chad Gray when I was opening up.
Chad Gray. Oh wow.
See him?
You know, it took me a moment. I saw the bandana. I was thinking, like, wait, is that Vinny Paul?
Yeah,
So-
Vinny was there. Vinny actually had his own tour bus, and the rest of the guys, he kept his old school tour bus from Pantera. And Vinny had his PlayStation on there. He'd just stay on there and with his PlayStation. He'd come out to say what's up, and then he played the show. But yeah, Korn was on it, and yeah. Let me see here. I'm just trying to get to that one picture I wanted to share with you. It's pretty cool.
I'm just saying,
It
you've been
was
talking about new metal the whole time. So I thought you're leaving out Mudvayne, man. You can't leave those boys out.
Well, it wasn't. It wasn't.
A lot of the new metal bands are coming back. You got Snot, Climber
Yeah.
55 just got back together. I mean, they're getting back out there.
I was pretty cool with Mikey from Snot. He was in a band called In Vitro, and they came out all in aluminum foil and stuff. And some football player bought their tour bus. It was wrapped. They're like, Mikey, Mike from Snot, the guitar player. Mikey, what the hell's going on? Where'd you get the tour bus? Well, some football player believed in us and just paid for it. But yeah, that's right there. That's me and Phil, and it's hard to
Carrie
see
King?
because the glare. Yeah, that's Carrie. Because we back to the band when One in the Chamber was doing stuff. We were sponsored by Cold Cock Whiskey, and Adam Greer from Jägermeister didn't do Jaeger anymore. He wasn't it was Zeller Spirits. But yeah, he said, I'm not doing Jaeger no more, but let me turn your band onto this thing called Cold Cock Whiskey. If you remember that, but Cold Cock Whiskey was Carrie. It's Carrie King and Adam Greer and all them, and it was this Cold Cock Whiskey thing, and me and Phil was in One in the Chamber, and so we happened to go on the Mayhem tour because Adam invited me out because I was in a Jaeger band for 10 years. And Adam invited us out, and next thing you know, me and Phil's over there, Job for a Cowboys hanging out, and I'm breaking down Whitechapel's drum kit. And they're like, man, you guys are awesome. Like, you're not even playing, and you're helping. You're helping. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, we'll just keep the cold cock whiskey rolling, and we'll be just fine.
I'll move in.
I was just happy to have some shots.
We'll move in with you.
Everyone's happy when he got whiskey and all that stuff. So
John Fair Cowboys, cool dudes, man. They were good people. They were good to us, and so was Whitechapel and Kissing Candace and all them guys. Like I said, they literally was like, "Are you guys leaving with us to the next town?" I'm like, "No, not." He should have.
Yeah, and even Kerry King, he was like, he gave us a moment so we can get like our composure and so we can look good for the camera. He's like, "You guys ready for this picture now?" He's like, "Yeah, okay, go ahead." It was cool. He was a cool dude, man.
he's always been super chill, to be honest, there too. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things like he doesn't care, or like if you're gonna get in his face, he's gonna say something then. So yeah.
There's just so much stuff I could tell you, but I'm not gonna because my band actually wants to go play big shows.
Well,
So
then we
much
could
shit
actually,
that's
we should write a book out of this. So yeah.
But they know it's true. It's like that Milli Vanilli song. Girl, you know it's true. Oh, I'll never do that again either.
It's okay.
We're gonna keep it really.
Hey, just to remind you,
That'll be
we are.
dope.
What did you say? So just to remind you, we are a heavy rock band.
Yeah, we're really too.
Every rock band, we ain't doing no pussy shit. That whole deal. So, yeah.
I heard you on the drums. There's definitely no pushy shit that you're doing on that kit.
Oh no, I'm doing the real deal. So I got me both
You're
throwers.
awesome.
Thank you, mate. So, you know what always sticks is when you do get some of those. I don't know. It's technically bots, but you get those real bad comments, or even the so-called promoters who are from India who are trying to like promote your work. That's their deal. Do you guys get a whole lot of those?
I don't think so. No, not really. Jeff's been handling a lot of that stuff, and I'm grateful of that.
We haven't got much spam yet. Any junk mail like that, I don't think. I'm sure we will though.
I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you know this, Brian, but Sarasota, we talk about heavy bands. I was really good friends with this band called Neurotica. And Neurotica, like you remember them?
It sounds familiar. I think I know a band that I've interviewed on here called Neurotic. So I mean that's what I was almost thinking of at first. But anyway, go ahead.
So Neurotica was on Ozfest, and they played with like I told you around the time that me and him kind of separated as kids when I was opening up for Motley Crue, Megadeth, and all that shit. And we moved to LA. Right before we moved to LA, my band moved to LA, and we were rehearsing in LA. They don't rehearse at their house. There's compounds. That's what it is. There's places, and the band shows up, and the gear's already there. They ain't got time for that shit. The gear's there. The drummer might bring his snare and his pedals and shit like that. And up front of the compound is place. They sell sticks there. They sell strings and stuff. But I'm literally moved to LA, and there's down at the end of the hallway, Tool's rehearsing. It's really cool. I can tell you other stories too. Like that's how long I've been in this damn game. Like I remember my band had tape. Somebody sent me a picture the other day of my band's tape. I said, "You still got my tape?" Yeah, I remember when we went to CDs, and I'm standing in front of the whiskey, and it's 1998, and I'm just a baby. I'm just a baby. Well, it doesn't matter how old I am. But I hand the first CD, and I'm probably 19. I hand the CD over, and this guy hands me a tape, and I'm like, I was trying to sell a CD, but the guy hands me a tape, and so you trade your bands, and I thanks, buddy. What the hell am I going to do with this tape? And I kind of laughed about it, like because I thought it was so cool that my band had a CD, and that band was Linkin Park. What a dumbass I felt like. It was a tape, and it said Lincoln and Park was backwards, and it was a license plate. I'll never forget it. But that's the stuff I'm talking about. It's very, very wild.
Hybrid Theory? Was that what it was?
It was it was at their first. I think it was a demo of right before everything. Where everything you say to me. It was probably like it wasn't even the real deal yet. But it wasn't long after that. That's what I mean. Where it all started and stuff like that. It's yeah.
Oh, shut up while I'm talking to you. Little deal. See.
Yeah. Yeah, so what's up with Solly? We was talking about he got to hang out with Godsmack quite a bit, but why does he want everyone to stay away and keep away? I mean, the dude's fucking famous.
Talking about his ex-girlfriend.
Just get away, stay away, keep away from him.
Some do the voodoo.
Dude, I got some issues. Stay away from me. Don't misunderstand me. Keep away from me.
Smacking people 200 times.
Yeah, but he wants you to stay away, but he's like in the center of 30,000 people every night. I don't get it. That's
It sounds metal. That's the deal. So it makes them feel like a badass in some sort of way. But hey, Awake. Still remember when it came out. I should say Awake. I remember when it was on those Navy commercials. Just the opening part right there.
Yeah, those
Just
guys from Godsmack, they're cool as fuck. They are down to earth as could be, man. As big as they are, they're treat you like a brother. They're really cool.
Yeah, Shannon's one of my biggest influences on the drums. One of the reasons I got into it. He actually, I met him down in Port Charlotte, Florida. He was in a blues revival band type thing with Tony, the guitar player for Godsmack. They had a little project going, and I met him down there, hung out with him. He's a cool guy, man. He was really cool. Invited us to the green room and just hung out with us. Yeah, like Phil said, man, just down to earth people.
I think they also said some funny shows, or that's what shows. I guess they were doing something off the stage, where I guess they drank like too much red wine or something, and probably were indecent to say the least. So there's a little bit of a funny story behind it here too, but I strongly recommend you check it out. It's funny what happened with Sully off the stage. So
that's what when I seen him when I seen Jeff looking for a band, I was like, I want to get this band rolling, Phil. I want to get this band rolling, but I know last week I said, fuck this shit. I'm not playing music no more. What's this? There's a guy that his influences are Shannon Larkin and Morgan Rose. Oh, I'm calling him. It was the best thing I ever did.
And Morgan Rose, I mean, he's always been an out of mind because we come from the same home state. They were from Atlanta. I'm from South Georgia. So I grew up listening to Seven Dust. He's always been a big influence on me too.
that's for sure. And I forgot to ask this earlier, but I guess what gear do you guys have? And then we'll get to some extra fun questions to close it out.
Gear.
What's that?
He says, what gear do you have?
Oh, so the drums I play is a Gretsch Maple kit. Love it. I got that one. I got a Atomic kit at home. That's another acoustic kit. Practice on an electric Elisa's kit. All my cymbals are Sabian and Zildjian. Love the crisp sounds of them. In fact, I just got endorsed with Collision drumsticks. I'm fixing to get my first set of sticks in tomorrow.
Yeah, you're doing you right.
Congratulations.
Yeah, man. So get those in. I'll get the picture and get it sent to them. DW kick pedals. It's all the stuff that I'm used to, and I love it, man. It all sounds great. So that's what the gear I play is.
I play through, I use Gibson guitars, the SGs, Les Pauls. I also have an Explorer, but mainly with these guys, I use the SG and the Les Paul, which I just picked up, a week ago, maybe?
Beautiful too. It's a line.
Custom shop to play with the guys. That'll probably be my main guitar right now. And then I played through EVH 5150, which I love. I think it gives any Marshall a run for its money, any Mesa Boogie. I've played through them all, but this little thing's got a kick to it. So I like it. I'm running the 6L6s through it for tubes, so it's a tube amp. But other than that, I like to use a lot of American stuff.
Made in America. So yeah.
Yeah, I like your sound, brother. I definitely like that.
I go for a more raw sound. I don't use too many effects pedals, and I'm not running through too much. I use one of my big influences, Angus from AC/DC. So you know how he plays. He doesn't use all that stuff. He plays right through it, and it just.
You should have got a Kempa. You should have bought a Kempa.
He gets a great sound without using all that. I mean, there's a lot of new modern equipment I do like. But for most part, I do like to. I still use chords. I don't want to go wireless. You know, I've always played like that, and I probably always will.
A lot of wah.
Yeah, I like the wah. I use the
I
wah.
love the wah.
He doesn't want to be like the Red Hot Chili Peppers during the one Super Bowl. So
They're coming back, bro. That's I've talked to some guys from the industry, and they're showing me, they're letting me listen to a lot of these new bands that they want to promote and push, and their kids, these kids that sound like, I'm like, man, those dudes sound like a lot of the stuff that they're wanting to sign sounds like the Chili Peppers with a slight hint of like a modern edge Chili Peppers. What is it? Jane's Addiction, stuff like that. They're pushing for stuff like that right now. I don't know. It's not going to change me. Yeah, I play through Ampeg. You know, I do have a Mesa TT 800. It's an 800 watt tube head. It's a monster, and it sounds good. These guys want me to play through the Mesa stuff, but man, I can't get away from Ampeg. You know, when I pull in the fridge, you know, I pull in the good old fridge, the 810 cabinet every way, I get noticed. You know, it's heavy and stuff like that. I know they make some smaller stuff, but I've always been an 810 cab kind of guy. You know what I mean? And I play the Ampeg SPT, you know, head tube. So it pounds. I like to be able. It's got the built-in EQs and stuff where I could, you know, believe it. Weirdly enough, I always thought Duff McKagan had a piercing sound from Guns N' Roses. You know, he had that when he hit them highs and stuff. You know, and I played through Schecter, you know, guitars, custom shop Schecters. You know, no bolt on neck stuff, but EMG in it. You know, it's just hard to beat a piercing. And then my low end, I always on all my basses, I always go. Even with a 4-string, I get it done up to where I put a 5-string, the low end of a 5-string on a 4-string, so I got a 130 low end on a 4-string, so it's like a rope. My low end, you know, and so the lows are lows and the highs are like piercing. You know, I kind of dig that, you know, because we are a bass-driven rhythm section kind of band, and you know, it pounds. I really like that stuff. But
Me and myself, I just I go through Shure wireless in-ears, Shure monitors for the in-ears. They sound really good, very clear and clean. Vive receiver monitors, very, you know, I like very simple to work with. And Shure, of course, you know, speaks for itself. You know, more of on a higher end Shure. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, you definitely want your equipment to you don't want a flat tire going down the highway. You definitely want everything to be on point, sounding good, clean, crisp, and that's pretty much it for me right now. So
I'm operating it's a Rain 1 2-channel DJ controller. I like the 2-channel better. I run that through a laptop, pull all my information from a laptop. I also do the in-ears as well. I use a Pro Series headphones, and I'm using a Yamaha synthesizer now. I'm getting ready to upgrade that. That's it for me.
all right, it's great. That's the stuff you guys got.
and our speakers that we use are QSCs, top of the line. You got to have good sounding speakers.
I'll do
Yeah.
one more for you, Brian. Since he's
Yeah, go.
doing the synthesizer thing, Dan wants so bad. Dan wants so bad to do that. Oh, she's a little runaway.
Yeah.
I will never do that again, I promise.
And I wanted to mention too, actually, Dan was using it. Now I've got it on the drums. The drum kit, I'm using a Roland trigger set too. I asked him
Roland.
Yeah, pre-sample trigger.
You have one of those, don't you, Brian?
Mine's a typical electric drum set. The way Jeff Cat made it sound like, it's one of those rectangular pads that you hit.
Yeah,
and it
the
makes like
Roland,
those.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like a not.
Sample.
I thought I seen you have one. I'm not sure.
It's probably the module itself, but no, I don't have something like that. But maybe something down the road. That way, it gives me like a Neil Peart sort of style set going forward. But I do have 2 Chinas, and then I get just to use the 2 crashes, and then 1 ride and 1 hi-hat, along with 3 toms. So 1 bass drum, just mainly as a double kick pedal. So I keep it simple.
I have one 18-inch China on my right, and the 2 crashes. I got a crash ride, that's kind of rock crash, and then I got a big just ride.
You know, my controller's motorized as well. Makes a big difference in sound. The motorized DJ control.
So yeah, absolutely. So it's really good.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm. Gives a nice little feel to it, or that sort of deal.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because some of our recordings, you know, such like Pressure and you know, that's not real old, but I mean, we don't have some of the fillers and turntables that Dan is doing now. So with us playing live last Saturday and some of the disc jockeys that have been spinning our music, they were actually, you know, they told us Saturday night, it was like, you know, you guys present this song that we're playing on air, and then we come to watch a show, and then you add all this extra fillers and the turntables. It's a nice, it's a nice completion of the band. It really is, especially live. It's really exciting. I can't wait to get out and play a lot more. That's, you know, we got a show coming up, a little less than 2 weeks away. That's looking good. We got some really cool bands on it. A band called The Dude.
It's our brothers, man. Ballistic Mafia. Yeah, Ballistic Mafia. They're out of Lakeland, man. Those dudes they're an incredible band, dude, man. We really dig them guys, man.
Yeah.
So
it's a good lineup.
yeah.
We got a guy that's running sound, actually did frequency work over the weekend in Tampa for Metallica. So he's got his own, you know, sound
I'm excited.
business.
I'm excited to, you know, for the sound guy. You know, like one of my brothers. You know, I'll be able to enjoy some adult beverages with my brothers and get to play our music. You know, but the sound guys, I'm pretty stoked about playing out with them too.
Yeah, it's a little pretty penny but it's going to be worth it. Absolutely.
I was gonna say, how do you sign up for this? Do you have to like fill out some sort of form or something, or is it like, hey, we're Kutthroat Kingz, can we get on the bill or something?
Yeah. There's just been a lot of people that's been good to us, man. That's all. You know, we get out. You know, and I meet a lot of people. I'm that social butterfly, and you know, the guy standing next to you, never know who you might meet. Type deal. You know what I mean? So,
Or who you tell to go get pizza.
yeah, exactly.
Where to go get pizza.
It's
We need
definitely
pizza on my end, so yeah.
That's a
When in doubt.
mistake.
I would say, when in doubt, always get a pizza. It'll be gone.
That's the second time that happened to me. Once with him and once with Mastodon. That wasn't good either.
Oh boy. Okay. So, boys, we pushed super good. Or sorry, was that Dan?
Yeah, I'm just gonna salute Jeff and you, Brian. Very cool. Glad we got to meet up.
Actually, we got to get through the extra fun questions, actually. That's the thing that we missed right there, too. So, I was going to say we're almost out of time, but let's breeze through these fun questions real quick. So, whoever wants to go first, I'm curious if there's a particular dish I haven't heard about in Florida, or at least in your neck of the woods right there, too. So, what would you say is currently your favorite food?
Oh, favorite food. I do a lot of grilling, brother. You know, I think we both do a lot of, you know, but as in, you know, like down here, there's a lot of Cuban stuff going on. You know, there's a lot of a good Cuban sandwich. You know, they make a lot of that down here. There's the Colombian restaurant. It's like one of the Tampa's oldest restaurants. Beautiful place to go to. You know, but
Latino food, yeah.
man, we do a lot of together stuff. We like to grill. You know, we haven't done it in a while, but you know, we like to grill. We like to throw steaks and chicken on the grill. You know, a good old burger don't hurt either. You know what I mean? So we try to, and we do that actually. A lot of these shows, that's what we do too. We will pull up, and that a lot of bands like that, the camaraderie, of our band will pull up. It may not be when we get there. It might even be after everybody needs it, after we've had too many beers. I'll be out there. I will. They'll be, I love you, bro. Of course you do. It's not. That's like Snoop Dogg. You just love my doggy style. I'm out there flipping burgers.
Well, that's the thing is that's something that Will did teach me. Is that if you're out there, it doesn't matter where you're at. If you've got the grill going and you're slaying some really good food, that draws a lot of attention to you. And I don't care who they are. I don't care how big of a national or of a local. It don't matter.
They want to bite.
They want some of that fucking food, especially when we're cooking. So, yeah, it really draws a lot of attention. I was asked a question one time. It was about a year ago, and a guy asked me. He said, "What does it take?
I never had that.
What does it take to really get the attention to yourself?" And this guy, I don't know what he was doing for his podcast or something. He was going around asking different guys in the bands, and he came to me and I said, who's throwing the biggest party? Who's throwing the biggest party, and who's feeding them? And who's got?
Doesn't take much, man.
It don't take much, man. Some hot dogs,
A cooler full of Miller Lite.
That's all it takes.
And that's for you. I'll drink it too. I am kind of a Miller Lite kind of guy. I stay away from them high calorie Coronas and Modelo's and stuff like that. Man, there's a lot of calories, and I try to keep it down a little bit. Imagine if that's all we drank, But yeah, you put that out there and throw some stuff on the grill. But this guy, man, you talked about that. He goes, I'm a biscuits and gravy kind of guy. This dude always got a milkshake in his hand every time I. I'm like, is that the Shamrock Shake?
I'm a fast food guy. I love it.
There's no.
He keeps looking at his figure, and this guy. If I had a shake in my hand, he's like, "There's Mateus on Facebook." He's got it. Well, I wonder what shake Mateus is drinking today. It's the orange crush. Cheers. Let's see. I told you. This guy.
Burger King, but we do.
I'm jealous.
You got 5 guys everywhere, but that's
There you go.
try all these other places.
Jeff, that's your favorite?
I like seafood. I like a lot of seafood. When my girl go out, we usually try to find a place that has fish dip. We always like to try the fish dip wherever we go to. So that's one of my go-tos. Other than that, I just like anything. But I like burgers, steaks. I'm real big on steaks. So yeah, I kind of like it all. But seafood's probably my favorite.
Yeah, I like salmon and salad. But my go-to is like a burrito. I can throw just about anything in a burrito.
True. Especially on the road, yeah.
Get used to eating and driving, and I want to keep it clean. I don't want to wear it, so burritos the way to go.
Flour, Doritos.
Yeah. I mean, shrimp, fish, steak, mac and cheese,
Anything.
cereal.
Mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
What's up, man? You guys are real thin for what you all eat. So, especially you eat potatoes. So, yeah.
There's Brian. Camera kind of deceives a little bit. Some of us.
We make ourselves look skinnier with it's shrinking the camera, makes it look a little skinnier than we probably are. So, all right.
Well, we knew we was going to talk to you. So, 35 minutes of saying, where should I sit? Does this make me look fat?
You gotta look presentable. That's the thing. So yeah. All right. All great choices there. For the next one, not sure how much TV nerds you guys are, but I guess you guys got a favorite movie or TV series?
Lately, I'm watching The Animal Kingdom. It's a pretty cool show. It kind of reminds me of it's got the Sons of Anarchy vibe to it. It's a show series on Netflix. But I've been hooked for the last, I don't know, maybe week watching it. So I'm getting into this second season. That's what I've been watching.
Myself, honestly, I catch myself watching a lot of YouTubers. It's just different. You know, it's not the same bullshit you see on TV. I don't watch any of the fucking news anymore. I mean, a little bit, but it's more independent YouTuber stuff. I seek for the truth, you know, and wherever that is, I might find it, I might not, I don't know, but
Channel. You watch.
well, you know, I like to keep up with the Joneses a little bit just because who knows what the hell's going to happen tomorrow, you know, but I watch a lot of YouTubers and now I'm going to be following you. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I like that. That's really my main go-to anymore. I watch very little TV, and when I do, like I said, that's what I go to.
I watch paranormal all the time. I just love ghosts and spirits, paranormal stuff. So if I'm watching TV, I'm usually, hell yeah, man. I usually watch some Travel Channel or something that's got some paranormal shit on. So I enjoy it.
Good. Yeah, I don't do the serious things. I just don't have that time commitment time. I just don't. I do 30-minute skits on YouTube. I like watching sports and things of that.
These nuts.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Jesus Christ, I had to ruin the whole fucking thing, man.
If I ain't wrapped up in the Golden Girls, brother, then I'm watching.
Maybe I'm fucking funny, dude. Don't make
If I ain't watching I crash out to the Golden Girls, man. You know, they're hilarious. But
they're all sexy.
if it's not that, then it's the crime shit. It's the that crime network where they not the 2020. I'm trying to even think what is it even that called?
What is it? Crime One.
It's not Crime Watch. It's
4 hours or 72 hours.
yeah. The where they look for the killer, or, you know, and it's real shit. You know what I mean? Like, this is the crime type network. You know, where they're looking for they even got one that's called like it's like I Live with a Monster, and this guy it tells you about their behavior before they actually snapped. You know what I mean? And so it's I watch a lot of that stuff. You know, it's kind of interesting how they catch the guy. You know.
That's why I mentioned about the Golden Girls there too, because I do remember watching that back in the day.
Betty wipes the shit.
She just
Yeah,
is.
man. I wish she was still around.
Yeah.
She's funny as hell.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
She helped carry the show, but everyone else at least did their part. So you could tell they were really digging it too, when they're loving doing their own bloopers. That sort of stuff too.
Yeah.
I know you watched Cheers, didn't you? You was a Cheers guy.
I might have seen a couple episodes, but I never really got into it. Same with Friends. So
Parents used to watch that.
Yeah, but the Frasier came from Cheers, remember?
Yeah, it was a
Was it?
spinoff.
Yeah, Frasier was the guy that I'm Dr. Kramer, Frasier Kramer, or what? Kramer Frasier. Frasier Crane. He'd walk in the bar. It was Cheers.
Was in Cheers. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd walk in and he'd buy a beer, and then eventually he got his own show called Frasier.
I've been to Cheers a couple times.
Cool.
And good food.
They have good hamburgers.
Yeah.
They got good milkshakes.
Milkshakes too.
Shake, yeah. I do. Burger, yeah, they had good
You
food.
did have a shake.
Family
my milkshake brings all the
burgers,
boys to the yard. So yeah.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. That's why when I seen his ad too, I seen him. I'm like, gotta have it.
We
We're
haven't
on
beat that
the phone,
good
actually.
guy, yeah.
First time I called him about joining the band, we were on the phone for like it was probably 2 hours. It wasn't just like, hey man, you know, that's how these guys do. You could shred, bro, and like, yeah, come to practice on Tuesday. We were like bullshitting for like 2 hours worth of shit.
The guy that kept humming tunes to me.
I was humming the tunes to him.
We're
Yeah.
gonna play this. We're gonna go did it.
And you made it happen. And he made it happen. It was bad.
Yep, let's do this.
That's how good friendships.
It's always a badass conversation.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
It's never dull.
There's never a dull moment with any of you guys, so that's a good thing.
Appreciate that.
That's when
Brian, we got to send you out a Cutthroat shirt, brother. We got to make sure you.
Get that to you. Your address. Your mailing address.
Oh, he's definitely not sending us his address.
As long as you wear.
I probably just give you something. So I'll give it an address. If you want to send me something, then just message
Yeah,
me.
we do. We definitely do, brother.
Let us
All right.
know your size. We'll get you a little bag of treats.
All right. I would say that kind of sounded wrong right there too, but I see where he's going with it. So okay.
Like this interview is over.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, not yet. But I guess
Sit
the
down.
next question here. I think Willie kind of spoiled it earlier too, but I guess you guys got a preference in terms of alcohol and non-alcoholic drinks.
I used to drink. I don't drink too much now. I like to save my energy, and I like to be able to mingle with everybody and remember things. You know, I used to party in the band, so I've already done it and learned that I'd rather do, you know, save my energy. Basically, I get tired when I drink. I was a whiskey drinker, so it really makes you, you know, I like to function now. So my old rock and roll party days, I did that through my 20s. I'm hitting like, I don't know, 40 now, so settled down a little bit.
Yeah.
Miller Lite.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just
We don't party when we practice. We practice. We take this, you know, we have fun, we joke and play and laugh, and you know, but when it comes down to the meat and potatoes, you know, you got to go in there like you're going to work. You know, you can't drink a bottle of whiskey and go do your job for your employer. You'll get fired. You know, I get it. You know, okay, you know, party is part of being a fucking rock star. Well, is it really? I mean, because a lot of your biggest fucking heavy hitters that are main stagers that are legends now don't do that shit no more. They've already done it. They know what it does to you. And if you want to succeed, you know, hey, have a drink every once in a while, a glass of wine or a beer or whatever, but you control it. Don't let it control you. That's that simple.
Yeah, we mainly keep it professional. We got time to ourselves. It's beer. It's minor. Coors Light, Michelob Ultra.
Shots.
we might have occasional nip.
After the show's over, after the show's over,
But before the show, it's just a few, maybe a few beers, and sometimes not even that.
Yeah, I'll have a shot at Jameson before I hit the stage. Sometimes loosen up the nerves.
They got this saying called California sober.
But he would know too. So
I think it's in California. It's if you ain't drinking, you ain't playing.
I mean, I would say that was pretty much every rock star's resume there too.
Hey, I like to loosen up and have a few every once in a while, you know, after a show, you know, and when I do, it's, you know, little tequila silver, like you said, maybe a Coors Light, an Ultra Michelob, or maybe even some of the drafts, some of these breweries that make up, you know, we like to sample a little bit, but, you know, it's more of an enjoyable social thing. You know, that's about it.
Yeah, I just usually have like a Make Ultra. That's
Yeah.
I'm usually the top. I just don't really. Like I said, I party through the 20s. I don't remember much of my 20s because I was always tore up. And
Hey, the more we have this conversation, the more they're going to find out about us.
Denial. Are you writing down? You're writing this shit down about how much we drink?
That's what we should
To be like, I got you guys on tape. So there we go. I got the evidence. I got the proof. So yeah,
Later.
you'll go to jail. That old deal. It's all good though too. But it's always good to see you guys have cleaned up. And it's very much like the Dos Equis commercial. I don't always drink beer, but when I do,
I do.
Yeah,
I drink Dos Equis and responsibly. So
absolutely.
stay thirsty, mis amigos. So, all right. So here's how I word the last one here too. If you guys have a favorite song of all time, you can feel free to share that one. Otherwise, and since we got 5 guys here too, what would you say is your top favorite band of all time? You could only pick one.
Oh, dude.
Fuck.
that's a hard one, man.
Oh, Jesus.
As a band, as our band,
That's
our favorite band, as our band. I don't know, man. It's tough because we all share a lot of influences, but we all have a lot of main influences. It's different. So I don't know.
It's hard to narrow down to one.
Yeah.
I got it down to two these days. Deftones and Nirvana for me. But if I had to choose one, oh,
Well, I have to think of the most hits. What band has the most hits that I love? You know, where I can listen to a song after song after song. It's the same band. And I'm, you know, as much as it may sound cliche or whatever, but I would have to say somebody, the Eagles. I mean, really, it's one of the most sold albums in the world. You know, I mean, I can't go wrong naming them. I mean, it was my era at the same time. I was a child, but I can listen to them and sit back and drink me a cup of coffee. Absolutely. Eagles.
See, mine would be Pink Floyd. But that's the band that I always listened to growing up until I got to the harder rock. And even now, I still love Pink Floyd. So
yeah, mine was Led Zeppelin.
yeah,
They're both good bits.
yeah.
I used to like get all artsy in my room when I was a kid listening to Zeppelin. It would be like medieval, like it just made your imagination go pretty good. So I would I like listening to the different 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, like that, like kind of put it in order like that for the fans and their symbols. They had a lot of symbolism. They had a lot of subliminal messaging and whatnot. So that was cool. Nowadays, it's hard to pick up on the subliminal messages. I mean, it's either they have to throw it right in your face to see it, or you have to like look really hard. It's never really like as blunt or as,
You know, if you ask somebody that
obvious as it
question,
used to
you
be.
ask them what's your favorite band. This, what you know, you could pick one, and somebody could answer that question. But do we really listen to that now? That's you know what I mean. That could be your root. That you like I said, Kiss. But you know, I grew up to Kiss, and man, I had Kiss, Nazareth, Motley Crue, Zeppelin. Those were all my albums. You know, I even had a Kansas record. You know, as a kid. You know, Billy Squire. I had Billy Squire. I had all that shit as a kid. You know, Queen. I had all these albums, and do I really listen to, man? Probably rare would I ever even bump that shit now. You know what I mean? It's like, but I'm well aware. You know, even down, I just seen 38 Special for the first time in my life. They just happened to be playing somewhere, and it was down the road, and I seen them, and they still blew me the fuck away. They were fucking good, dude. But yeah,
What is it? You have to say one. You got to answer this, Joe.
oh man, no, I don't know if I can do that.
I'll pass. I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
pick one.
Yeah, it's hard to pick one. Like I told you, those were my beginning influences, and I could say that's what created the beast that you know that's within me. You know, I always wanted to be Motley Crue. You know, off Shout at the Devil and shit like that. I wanted that. You know, I wanted that shit. I wanted the Live Wire. You know, I wanted to be in that. You know what I mean? And
The Rose's Appetite for Destruction.
yeah, Appetite for Destruction was like a Bible. It's like the Bible of, you know, and matter of fact, the band
came out.
on occasion, our intro CDs is Mr. Brownstone. We come out, and as soon as I put that on, we came out that, well, we had two intros. Like we started that, and it goes into our intro, but it starts off with the beginning of Mr. Brownstone, and you ought to see the whole bar. I didn't care what age they were. There's a whole women in there, and they're like, they heard that Mr. Brownstone come on. You know, I get up around 7. You know, get out of bed around 9. And they loved it. Like it's still relevant.
Don't worry about nothing, no, because worry's a waste of my time.
Time, yeah, and that's us, man. You know, it's like that's the dream, baby. You know, that is rock and roll. That's the Bible of rock and roll.
What about you, Dan?
I'm just going to keep it simple, but I'm happy to go with Zeppelin. So
Short, sweet, to the point.
I listened to them a lot when I was younger, and that's probably the most I can do. It's going way back.
But you guys got conservative too.
Yeah, I don't listen to them or anything like that, but That would, I'll have to.
I pulled up at work and Stairway to Heaven was on. I said, I'm not fucking clocking in until this song's over. And I found out that the guitar solo in Stairway to Heaven is 7 minutes long. I'm fucking late to work and I don't give a shit. I rolled the windows down like it's happening, boys. I don't care if the owner of the fucking company comes out right now. He's going to hear it.
Something like that. But it's not more like a live version, but okay. All great choices right there. Hey. So boys, we're talking a good over 2 hours right now here too, and we're down to one more question on my podcast. Before we jump into it, would you guys like to ask me anything or say any final words?
Let's. So you were talking about job for a cowboy and stuff like that, but I mean, do you get into any lighter stuff? You know, you just dig everything, and because all music matters. I mean, do you have a favorite other than stuff that's not of that caliber?
Well, unfortunately, I've been digging the metal thing because I've been doing a lot with the drum covers. I even got it planned out for 2026 which bands I wanted to cover next. So,
Even though your first concert wasn't that?
I mean, I would say Lost Lonely Boys and maybe a couple others. I can't exactly remember because the venue I played at was one of those open ones, and I about to bring like the heavy sort of music right there too. It's meant to be more of the classic rock. Somewhere in that range right there too, in terms of the genre and everything, but it's never meant to go heavy like the metal or anything like that. So,
Well, maybe one of your next podcasts, we'll watch for it. We'll be on the lookout. Maybe you could do a metal version of a classic rock song on the drums.
I'll have to dig for it, but I think there are a good few. Right there.
Leo.
I heard Hotel California, a metal version of it. It was pretty dope too. I forget who did it. It was it's that one drummer, the guy that plays with one hand. You know what I'm talking about? That guy. He plays I forget his name. He smokes a cigarette and drinks a coffee and plays with one hand. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, so the one Hispanic guy, right? I can't really pronounce it.
He's got a long beard.
Long beard, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
His logo, the bearded drummer.
The bearded drummer,
Yeah, he does everything one handed. Yeah, I've seen that. Must take a lot of time.
You guys got a question for him?
I don't know. So you said you saw Ride or Die and Pressure. Which one of our songs do you think you probably dig the most out of those two that you've heard?
It was one of those things. It was such a great experience to hear both of them too, but it was over.
Appreciate that, man.
Just like that. So, but
Yes.
I had to say I was digging Pressure a little bit there too. It caught me late at night, so it was past my bedtime. But I heard both.
Well, the guitars are a little heavier in that song too. It's more of a, and really this new material will circle back with you, but this new material is heavier.
We go super heavy now. Because the point where it's like, that's so metal, man. So
I'm excited to release our next song. I'll give you the name of it if you guys don't mind.
Okay.
It's called "Pay the Price." It's got meaning. It's got a story for us. But and like I said before, people can have whatever story they want to have their connection with it. Will's the main writer here, and he's been writing for many years, and he does very well writing the material. But we are all excited to get the next song released here sooner than later. So, and like I said, like we were saying earlier, there's some negotiations that we're under right now. I don't want to get too much into that because you never know the direction it may have. It could happen, but it's exciting for us, and we have to be careful on when and how we release stuff because some of those entities want to be the ones to release it, not for us, not us releasing it. They want to do it. So we have to kind of pump our brakes and kind of wait around and see what's going to happen.
Yeah, that was said to us.
Hey, Mr. Bryan, I think we'd all like to hear how you got into music and some of your influences if you got time. Just a quick overview.
well, I should say I was always kind of a little bit of a metalhead at heart because my dad was real big into obviously classic rock up until like the 80s. They made some exceptions with Metallica, Motley Crue, Priest, Maiden, some of those guys.
Hey,
So, But
Oh, yeah.
it actually started off with just 6 bands in general, and unfortunately, I always forget the names. But it was Springsteen, Vertical Horizon, Three Doors Down, Van Halen. There was a British punk rock band called Bush at the time.
Yeah.
I know I said 6, but I'll just leave it at 5 right there. But it was mainly those bands, and then a friend introduced me to the alternative metal, like the Underoath, From Autumn to Ashes, those sorts of bands. So I went on that kind of little stint. In high school was the deathcore phase. So I think everyone seems to go through it at one point or another. And then
Absolutely.
I got into the heavy and death metal on my own, really. So I think it was during college too when I just finally said, "Screw it. Let's just roll with it and see where it goes." So,
Right.
but drumming came about during college because I used to be into strings. I was a cello player for a good number of years. So
Nice. Wow.
I'm self-taught in terms of drums. So
Now you're
Here I
playing the architect.
basically,
Like the architect.
I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I actually heard about them, to be honest here too, but I've heard Architects.
Math metal.
They do an awesome cover of Deftones. They do change cover of that.
They're
They
really
nailed
good.
that.
I don't know. Doesn't really ring a bell, but the Architects. All right, I'll check it out.
Check them out.
I think I'm taking too much of the band Architects, which I don't know if it was that deathcore sort of band or something like that. I'm not too sure.
They're like a melodic metal. They're pretty.
Well, I mean-
the changes, man. They hit on a lot of different techniques, different ones.
You know, like you already heard what I've said about different things about some of the heavier stuff, but it's kind of funny that I would pick out of the newer stuff. I would pick definitely be more of a Slaughter to Prevail kind of guy over Falling in Reverse.
I don't know.
And
Straight from the Path just put out the sickest album on Friday. It is banging.
but also I was never a Green Day or Offspring guy. I hated Green Day. Man, I can't stand the off fucking spring. I just never could. His voice. It's like they got away. Hey boys, we got away with it again. Pretty Fly for a White Guy just hit #1. Can't do it. They had like one song, but that guy's voice. I never did dig the Offspring or weirdly enough, because I was a Nirvana fan. I like Nirvana, but I'll even take Weezer. I'll take Weezer over a Green Day. I just could never get into the Green Day thing, man. The Dookie album was never a fan. I like punk too, but it's look,
Not that sort of punk. So,
no.
All right. But anything else? Feel good?
We're good, brother. I really appreciate you having us on, man.
Absolutely.
This was a great experience, man. Thank you.
Looking forward to another one, maybe before or after a show sometime.
Love to see.
I'd love that, brother. That'd be very cool. Hey, make sure you send us your info too. We want to get you a shirt out, my dude.
Yeah,
Will do.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh wait,
Very
we got one more
much for having
question.
us on the podcast.
Okay, sure.
I was like, wait, we got one more question. So we're not wrapping up just yet. So here's how the last question goes. And I don't know if you want Will just to be the spokesperson, because I think some people are going to steal other people's thunder, but here's how it goes. So given the amount of negativity that you've been seeing going on in the world, I know, Phil, you talked about stepping away from the news, that sort of stuff, which is a good thing. But given the amount of negativity that you've seen, whether it's bands with bad egos, homelessness, drug addictions, that sort of stuff, I feel like people need some sort of hope these days. So what would be your message of hope so people can move forward with their lives for both musicians and people?
Well, for anybody to say, there's help out there, and obviously we know that. Sometimes we have to do more than just words. I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for anybody else. But I do when at the moment I see something or I see somebody, Hurricane Milton that we experienced. I saw this homeless gentleman and he had this dog, and I was at work. This was the day after Milton. And I asked him, I said, what did you do last night? He said he walked up and down 70. And I said, are you okay? And he said, well, I'm here. I said, okay. And I handed him a $50 bill. And, you know, that's nothing for me, but that was a lot for him. And, you know, I wish I could do more. But if everyone would do something, there's that much greater of a change that we can make in this world.
Your words matter too.
Put aside your political differences. You know, what I see is when I see an event that happens, a storm, you know, people forget about politics real so quick.
They could get nasty too.
They can, yeah. And
we've had storms, which he speaks of, and that was the same thing.
you know, you hear,
Lady walks down the road. We've been
you know,
struck with them.
it's like this.
You don't know what to do.
You're
The first thing I say is, "I love you." The lady was shocked. She's like, "Where do I get gas?" She's all, and I said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" I said, "I want to say the first thing this morning." She goes, "What's that?" I said, "I love you," and I hugged her. I don't know this lady from Adam. You know what I mean?
The experience that you experience in a hurricane, you know, people's like, oh, hurricane party. Do you own your own home? Do you actually, have you ever experienced, and this is a question that I think, I don't ever call anybody out, but you know, it's like the traumatic feeling of what it's like to go through the hour upon hour, and it's so long. It lasts for so many hours, the pressure, the stress that's put on your body. And you see it among everyone in the area. You see, you know, it affects people differently. And when you sit back and you think about what you have, man, what can I do to make someone else's life a little bit better?
Love your neighbor, even though you have differences. I mean,
You know, I lost
me and my neighbor's different, and I look over and I see stuff, and we're not the same. But you know, it's like, brother, no matter what, I love you. That is first. If you walk around with that attitude of love in your heart, and try to walk away from this baloney, it's all a form of hate. You know, and if you could just not focus on that, the stuff, and you may not agree with it, but first things first. It's a mic dropper, brother. I love you. It is a mic dropper.
That's all you gotta say.
We're all different. I mean, I've been with this dude. He's been my dude for all these years. I mean, I probably do things that's, you know, even with bands, you know, you know, Will's annoying at times and Phil's annoying at times. Hey, all right, we get it. We already know this. I love you, man. If people started doing that, more of that, it really helps out a lot. You know, answer the phone when your dude calls. Even, you know, he might be busy, but you don't know if that's the last time you're going to talk to him, you know?
If people would stop for a second and remember how it feels to have anger in your heart and how toxic that really feels, we don't need any more of that.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. It doesn't fix shit.
Do tell. So, and spoken like a bunch of shoe policies. So, all right.
Hey,
so
Kutthroat Kingz loves you, Brian.
Kutthroat Kingz.
and all means matters of that. Loves you guys too. There we go.
There you
Have a
go.
good cards.
You got it, brother. You got it.
Wait, Matt, where's your art at?
That's love you, man.
It's like I tell everybody, you know, when we're out there playing, you know, or doing our thing, we can't do this without all of you. It's not the same.
You can't ever give up either. Can never give up. Never give up.
That's right.
Always help each other, man. Somebody needs help, help them. It happened to me when I needed it. It's happened to all of us. Help the brothers, man.
It's people like you and Jeff, man, that spread word and spread messages from different bands.
Spread the love.
I've heard a lot of times when music saves people's lives, man. You never know when you or the music you play is gonna bring somebody out of a dark place.
I was saying, you know, it's going to hit home when someone says, your music saved my life. that'll do.
Yep. Yeah. Then I got a Dalmatian and I can still get high.
Let's not turn us into 101 Dalmatians here, buddy. So, want to keep that dog under control. So,
Yes, exactly.
all right. But boys, we reached the end of the podcast right here. We talked a little over 2 hours and 37 minutes right here too. So we definitely had a lot of fun
Thank
here.
you. And it was easy.
Yeah, thank you for having us, my dude.
I'm like, that was too easy.
Forever.
I feel like I've known you for years now.
But Will here definitely had some stories. I'll tell you that much. He was definitely telling about the Godsmack, all the Slipknot, and all that stuff right here. We can write a damn book out of this. Just real quick, would you guys like to give it any shout outs? And I guess what social media and streaming platforms are you guys on so I can check you out and interact?
We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify. Actually, Pressure got released on iHeartRadio. There's numerous platforms that are on. It's just growing, man. It's just growing, man.
Even besides the Kutthroat Kingz page.
Yeah, on Facebook. Yeah, we're
It's just Kutthroat Kingz. And
Kutthroat with a K, one word, Kutthroat with a K, and then Kingz with a Z. Little unique.
Go in and press like.
yeah,
Give us your support. Yeah, absolutely.
yep.
Greatly appreciate it.
We got a show June 28th at Fires Open Road, Arcadia, Florida, with the Dude and Ballistic Mafia. It's going to be a really good time.
In the brass mug.
Tampa.
Well, you know, I don't know about the cookout. We got a lot of recording money going out, man. So you might want to like hit Subway or something before you head out. Who knows though? We still may cook out.
Yeah,
Hey,
we're
we
gonna be
make sure it's
recording-
going to see it.
We're going to be recording at Burnt Orange Studios here in Sarasota, Florida. Very nice place.
Matt Burn Orange.
Yeah,
He's
very
amazing.
professional.
Yeah.
Great place.
He just had Brian Johnson in there.
Yeah, he's got Brian coming in there and doing his stuff for AC/DC. They rent it out for whatever time, so that's cool.
You guys get it at all. You get the lucky ones, to be honest. So,
Can't complain, brother.
Maybe we should call the lucky ones.
actually, we got an album idea. I'm setting an album idea. So, yeah.
You know, it's fun, and there's a lot that surrounds us. But you know, I'm sick of the dreaming, and I'm ready for people to get the fuck out of my way so I can get mine.
Back to the hope story. I love
Get
you,
out of my
but
way.
you fuck out of our way.
Respectively.
My last thing I can say is I know we've hinted around, and we're not in a position where we can name any names yet, but I will tell you that we do have a label that's looking at us, and we do have a management company that's looking at us, and we're very thankful and glad, you know, that things like that happen, and we'll see how it goes. But like I said, nothing's been signed yet, but at this point we can't name anything, but big things may be fixing to happen for us, and it's people like you that help us out and give us that exposure to places like that to recognize us. So I really appreciate you, man.
No worries.
Appreciate
I was
you.
going to say, who was I really interacting with? Because you guys responded pretty quick once I sent out the invite and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yep, things are
We
positive.
have to, brother. We have to get our word out, you know, and do as much get as much exposure as we can. You know, this is like we talked about. You talked about that double-edged sword. You know, we'll do a lot of this, but we're going to do a lot of the other too. You're going to see the name popping up, and we'll be in the clubs. We'll be out kicking it. You know, we'll stay there. We'll do the extra mile and stay a little bit longer, man, to get the word out. So,
Yep.
Good, man. So, all right. But we have to close it like this. We always do a conclusion to every show here, too. But everyone, I guess today we're the Kutthroat Kingz. We had Phil, Willie, Danny Boy, and Matt, or Matthias, whichever one he's actually going with, and then Jeff. So, the part band down there in Florida right here, too. Got to be kicking some major ass, and they had some pretty interesting stories here, too. So, wish we had some more time to kind of talk about some more other stories, including some fucked up shit you guys probably seen in your lives at some point.
real soon, Brian. Real soon.
Somewhere down the line here, too.
Save
Maybe
it
a
for another time.
part 2 at some point.
Thanks, bro.
Nonetheless,
Kingz out, man.
all right.
Thank you,
Wish guys
Brian.
good.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Hold up,
Thank you, bro.
guys. All right, hold on. All right, so go ahead on all socials, all streaming platforms, everything here too. Go check them out on all the shows and everything. So you guys stay safe. Rock God. And one more time, any quick pose.
Peace.
Get in here, guys. Get in here. Get in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.